You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
This was not conducive to sleep.
The wasteland is a post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, frozen atomic waves. From deep within the core, frozen atomic waves.
Hello and welcome to the 501st edition of the Fallout Feed. I am Andrew, joined by a flock of my favorite Fallout folks. Tonight, I've got Jess. What's up, Jess?
Hey, Andrew. Greets, everybody.
And Ray. What's going on, Ray?
Hello.
Hello. Tonight on the show, we have got some feedback from our first batch of quests that we're getting into for Season 16 of our Roundtable. We are in the third portion of the Roundtable, the back leg, the dog leg, if you will. We're down in Skyline Valley, down there near the, I guess, the Toxic Valley. No. That's
it's
way up north.
The
ash heap. Ugh, I flipped them back.
It's the opposite of the Toxic Valley, but close.
Opposite. We're getting into a little gameplay off the top of the show, as per the usual. We got some game time. I had so much fun with the Scream list last week. I was like, good Lord, we haven't played a Scream list forever. I'm going to put another Scream list together. So we got a little Scream action coming your way. Feedback from our core here from Solior, Vanessa, Sean, and Lee. So we'll get into that. Iguana bits and maybe a shout if we can think of one on the way out the door. But all right, guys, let's roll right into it. How we doing? Did we have a good episode 500? Everybody, go back and listen to it. It was fun.
Episode 500 was great. It was fun having Sean join us. It was great reminiscing with y'all. 500 episodes. I'm just glad that 501. Like now that we're on the back half of the first 1,000. Yeah. We can start to coast. You know what I mean?
Really stop caring now. Yeah.
We can just rely on the feedback. We can talk about food even more. It's going to be great.
All right, sit back. We're going to just replay old episodes of West Vault Radio. Is that what it was called? What was that show called?
Yeah, West Vault Radio, WVR.
So just sit back. We're going to play that. We'll start on episode 1, and you'll just listen to that show within this show. Okay, is that what we're doing for the rest of the season? Sounds good. All right, see you guys. Bye.
Phoning it in.
All right, let's get into some gameplay. What'd you get into this week, Ray?
After realizing that I had missed the quests last week by that much, I went back and went through the Calm Before quest, and it was pretty rowdy.
Which was that on the way to the?
That's the one where you enter the mansion.
Oh, enter the mansion. Get the waves.
You're
and
in
waves
that big
and
room
waves. Good Lord, yeah.
And it's dark. And you can't see anybody, but they're all shooting at you. And there's the power armored dude and all that. So, definitely a lot of running around, up and down the stairs, getting them to chase you, and then, jetting across to the other side.
It was a serious fight in there. We thought there were a lot in that vault, but there were even more in the mansion.
Just now she's all like, oh, it's a tough fight. But when I was like, oh my God, is there, I have to hurry,
sheep squatch
I have to hurry up and get these quests done. Is there going to be a sheep squatch in there? Not asking, is there literally a sheep squatch, but implying, is there a difficult battle ahead of me? And she was like, no sheep squatch. You're
easy.
In the clear.
You're past the
all
hard
cool.
part.
You'll be right in there, easy peasy. And I got my ass whooped.
Yeah, there's two parts to that. First of all, I forgot how tough the power armor guy was. I'll be honest. I forgot how tough they were. But yeah, I was also thinking literal sheep squatch. You know what that mansion reminds me of? At the time, I was trying to remember. But now that we did it again, doesn't it remind you of the Point Lookout mansion? When we're in there and we meet Desmond the Ghoul, and we're doing that defense with like the front stairs and the side stairs there?
Yeah, very much the same kind of layout.
Hadn't really thought about it, but the whole time I was fighting, I'm like, why? What does this remind me of? And that's what it is, Point Lookout.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of very ill-placed cover. You know,
What cover, right?
well, you go to you go to duck behind some crates and realize that it causes your backside to be completely exposed. And so they're coming at you from both sides, and
Was
yeah,
that
it was pretty crazy.
Was that the one we did up in the mountains in the New Vegas? No, 3? No. 3, right? What was Point Lookout? What was
Yeah, that was Fallout 3. That
3,
was
okay.
one of the last ones we did last season.
Yeah, right. I knew it sounded familiar. I was just trying to replace it.
They all blend together. Desmond the Ghoul, he's the cool guy with the glasses, who was a real, he's a bit of a jerk.
Cool.
Yeah. So got that wrapped up. So I'm ready to move on to the next episode.
So just chill to the next episode.
And get that knocked out in 76. I didn't do any more Foshnocks before the parades ran out. But
I'm sorry, Ray. I know how much you wanted that glowing pig mask, just like
Yeah.
Mike Shin. Yeah.
yeah, so much. Yeah.
You want it on Xbox, you can have it. I have it. I can give you the glowing pig one. And I was looking at it, I was like, this was created by a former Washington Redskins / Washington football team fan. This is the color, the glowing colors of the boar mask is the Washington football team colors, like very specifically, and like they're called the that horrible racist name, the Redskin, blah, that's terrible. Current or was the Washington football team, now the Commanders, but that their nickname for like 30 years was the Hogs. And
Really?
Yeah. So like that, I know that the designer, whoever did, like, it's so fucking specific. There has to be a fan of that team. I'm convinced.
Well, see if we can find out who did it. See if we can find out who made that and find out.
Yeah. See if you can dig through that, because I was like, that has to be a fan of that team. It's too perfect.
I don't know. I mean, it could have been somebody that transferred over from Bethesda, in Bethesda,
Mm-hmm.
but it would have been somebody living in Austin. So
I wasn't even really thinking about
Most
the locality.
likely.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Unless it was the team in England, because you've got a lot of people at Double 11 doing a lot of the 3D item modeling and crafting too.
Yeah.
A lot of British fans of the Washington football teams.
So with that out of the way, I was drawn back to Fallout London. So I took another run at making the unarmed character, and so that's been going okay. I haven't had any more save problems or anything. I went through and deleted a bunch of saves, just to kind of clean things up, and then, and then realized that so I realized that one of the characters that I was deleting saves for was actually from my OneDrive. So it was an old Fallout
okay.
4 save. And so there was a quick moment of panic, and then, oh wait, I don't give a shit.
Yep. It's funny how those overlap, when you start getting into the wrong drive at your OneDrive, and
so that's been fun. I've gotten up to the Pilgrim pub and picked up Mad Jack as my follower.
oh great.
I haven't had any of the faction followers, so I didn't do Jack Smith from the Fifth Column or Pendragon, the robot from Camelot.
Yeah, the Assaultron-like robot over there.
Yeah. But I did do, I've had Kira, and I've had Churchill, and
Gotta have Churchill.
very briefly Billy from the fridge. Um, but
He's way
and
cooler than Jenny from the block. I love Billy from the fridge.
And I did. I've gone all the way through the Mountbatten quest, so that's the only follower that I've done all the way through. So I'm going to see what Mad Jack is. I haven't the slightest idea, and I haven't seen anybody do a Let's Play with Mad Jack. So
I've seen a little bit of play with Mad Jack, but not a long one. You know, I just you did already get him, right? You already picked him up.
yeah, I've already picked him up.
I know he's a boxer and a little bit of his history, and I've seen him run around, you know, a few things he says, but I haven't watched much either. But that makes sense. That's kind of the final frontier for you until we get the DLC is actually the companions. Yep.
Yep. So
There's going to be DLC for Folon.
Oh yeah, there is.
Yep.
There's DLC for DLC now at this point is what we're doing. That's what we're working on now.
I keep forgetting what it's called. Is it like the pork and lamb update? The biscuits and butters update?
I hope it's pork and lamb.
It's something very British sounding.
Yeah, it's you know, and it's also not only is it additional content, but it's also cut content.
Pork
so
and
there's
lamb
a lot
is
of
British sounding.
there's a lot of
That's hilarious.
there's a lot of places in the game that you can't get to. You know, they look like, you know, somebody worked their butt off, you know, to build this this location.
Then it just never happened.
But you can't get in. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, some of that stuff opened up.
They had talked, you know, out in a lot of the interviews or streams just post released. They talked about some of the cut content. And I mean, a significant thing was going to be like the Yes Man ending we had talked about, like an entire separate faction ending and way to go, plus stuff for settlement. So that'd be great if that came in with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, No Man's Sky, we're still, you know, ripping along. We just recorded another episode. I think I released one Thursday.
I was going to say, that's not the one you just posted, right?
No, we just recorded it this morning. So definitely having a lot of fun there. Skyrim, I've been playing around with a unarmed sneak thief. And
I love that term, sneak thief.
Yeah.
Unhand me.
And then I finally got back to a place where I had some time to get back into Starfield because that I wanted to take that level 200 character through the Unity and start playing around with that. And it, you know, I went through that, and when I got to the final scene where you go and you get a recap of your, you know, this was your life in this universe. All there was the Constellation people sitting around the table. There was nothing else. This character hadn't done any of the other content. And
my goodness.
It was a very, very short walk to the Unity.
I'm sure some people see that with, you know, if they're doing multiple trips to the Unity and they just want to beeline that main quest. But
yeah, so I don't think there's any way to get around the Constellation piece of it. But yeah, that was the only thing there. So, you know, no
Achilles, no microbes,
right? None of that stuff. So and you know, this character is going to get a lot of that because, you know, I'm just going through the Unity to go through the Unity.
Mm-hmm.
And So it wasn't too bad. It almost it almost feels like it would be better if you would lose all of your um research and skill progression and stuff, because because this character is so high level, even marching through. Now I will admit that the final battle with the guardian that can create the clones of
Right.
you and whoever is coming through with you, um that one, I just kept going through, and just I was not able to to get anywhere with them. I just couldn't do enough damage fast enough, even with the the powerful weapons that I had. And so I stopped and checked, and oh yeah, I'm on extreme.
Oh, geez. Of course you are.
And so it's like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll just have to go very hard.
Notch it down just to only very hard. I mean, to be fair, this entire leveling thing, you did do it to yourself. They make it so you have to get so many levels to get all those skills, which multiple trips to the Unity. Most people are going to stop with a character before they get that far. I'm
Yeah.
glad you were the one to do it, though. I'm glad, we saw what it was like getting up that high in level.
Yeah. So I started working on again my theme, unarmed. Um, so I had done all of the melee and gun, combat stuff, but in the physical tree, there's still the unarmed, and so um, unarmed is just not really good in Starfield.
No, and we keep thinking maybe they improved it. Like once again, say you did it to yourself. I mean, you keep starting unarmed, you keep discovering this. But at this point, have you added mods for it still? Are you still using the ones that you did add, or?
Yeah, I've got all my it's quality of life mods that I run. The
Right.
Star UI. I've got the what do I have? Oh, I like the sit to add to your fleet.
Oh,
So
that's such a good one.
it makes it easier to when you've taken over a ship, not to have to go through the rigmarole of flying it back to a port and switching your ships back.
I feel like that was a really poor choice. Especially if you get to the point where you have a larger crew. Like if you've got 6 people, 6 crew in your ship, and you're stealing a ship that only has 4 slots and not enough cargo, like it just kind of messes things up. It's rigmarole.
Oh yeah,
I
well,
agree.
it's rough too, because it, they kick all your paid people to the curb,
Mhm.
and so all of
Exactly.
a sudden, oh wait,
Got to go find him again.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's a good mod. I like that one.
I like that too. Lee's saying that he uses it as well. He also mentions, yeah, you used to do melee and now you just do unarmed. I mean, it's a cool system, and I'm glad you're trying to get through it. But what improvements do you think they should make? Like, what is missing for unarmed or melee in Starfield that they have in Fallout or Skyrim?
I mean, I'd be happy with some, brass knuckles,
Okay.
something, gauntlet of some kind.
So we need
Um,
some kind of unarmed boost, like a
Yeah.
weapon that you can use unarmed. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so
More takedowns, like more stealth takedowns, like kill animations with cool kill cam things. Would that help it or no?
um, nah, I mean that'll only get you so far. You see that a few times, like the Skyrim
Yeah.
body slam.
You turn that off eventually. You're just like,
Yeah.
okay, I've seen that enough.
So I don't know. And I mean, really the only reason I'm doing, unarmed is just to get that skill maxed out.
Oh, right, because that's something you hadn't done.
Yeah. So that's a skill that isn't maxed out. So I've got all of the tech skills are maxed, all of the combat skills are maxed. Um,
What's the challenge for unarmed? Like punch 38 spacers, or I mean 300?
well, it's it's the usual. So it's 20, 50, and 100. Um, and so I'm to level 3 now. So now I have to kill 100 enemies unarmed. And so, the the challenge to that is just, finding 100 grubs to be able to punch to death.
Right. Pick on someone your own size, Ray.
Because it takes too long otherwise. I mean, it takes like 20 or 30 punches to to take out a human enemy.
It's ridiculous, and that's even with as much boost as you can possibly do in the skill, right?
Yeah.
Can you
And I've
shoot
already
'em?
got a bunch of so one of the skills adds um a mobilization to your punches.
Hmm.
So when I punch them, they get knocked out, and so they're lying on the ground. And but like the way that that Bethesda does it, as soon as I punch them again, they wake up.
Yeah, they start to stand up. Then you punch them again, they fall back down.
Yeah. So it takes forever.
I can picture this. I have another thought, and I mean, I know it's kind of cheap, but you could turn the difficulty way down, like from extreme down to like lower. Would that make them die faster?
Probably.
Probably,
Yeah.
but no fun to keep switching.
Yeah.
Can you shoot him to near death and then go punch him one time to just final blow?
Well, you probably
But that
could.
defeats the purpose of playing an unarmed character then.
Well, but the thing is that because all my weapon skills are maxed out,
You
You one
easily
shot
kill them.
everything.
yeah, I even on extreme, I'm one-shotting
Get a
everybody.
crappy weapon, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Throw rocks at him. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Get creative, right?
And then the other trouble is that when you're level 200, you don't find any crappy weapons.
Right.
So
It's like, excuse me, sir, could I trade you for a worse weapon, please?
yeah,
Could you rip me off or something? I don't know. I need a downgrade.
I might
here.
be able to buy a crappy weapon.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
That's funny. Like, we know they tried to scale the damage, but you've said from the beginning that when you know how to get decent weapons and work your skills, it doesn't level with you, even with the getting 5% harder with each unity and
Yeah.
being able to turn up some of the difficulty in the sliders now, that it still could use a little bit better balancing.
Yeah. So, but it was fun, and it still is. It's I enjoy myself,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a challenge to figure out how to do these things. I did use my my knockout ability to help me max out concealment, because that one you have to do the 20, 50, 100 stealth kills, unarmed or melee. And so I was running around punching creatures, knocking them out, and then crouching down and punching them again to kill them. And so max that one out that way. So
Punching baby animals.
yeah.
You do
So
what you
once
have
I get
to.
the unarmed, my last 100 kills with unarmed, I can stop that goofing around.
That nonsense.
And then the last couple of skills in the physical tree that I have to get are the ones where you take environmental damage, and when you heal yourself from diseases.
Okay, so and things like what frostbite and broken ankles and stuff like that. Does that
Yeah.
all count?
I don't know if it all. I don't know if the broken limb stuff counts.
Just
That was a
afflictions.
different. That was that was another one where I had to hurt myself. That's easy because you just jump off the roof at Atlantis.
Some of these
Yeah.
skill challenges are ridiculous, and we talked about it a week or two ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, they went a little bit far on the top tier skill challenges.
You know. And then one that I got. So when I was going through the Unity, I ended up in a quest where I had Sam with me, and there's a skill that you where you, I think it's leadership, where you have to sprint while with a companion, which was just like, okay, whatever. But hey,
Run with your friends. Team building exercises.
so I just sprinted everywhere I went
Turkey trot.
with
2024.
with Sam running around behind me trying to keep up. And so
Can you-
we're just running through all the different streets and sidewalks in New Atlantis.
Can you imagine that in like Fallout 4, which is like you and Hancock being like, sorry, Hancock, we got to run to our ref again.
It's like, what the
He's
fuck
like,
are you
"God
talking
dang it."
about, dickhead?
Yeah. So, yeah, let's see. Is that leadership? I think it is. Yeah. Yeah, leadership. And so so it's sprint 1,000 meters with an active follower, sprint 2,500 meters with an active follower, and sprint 5,000 meters with an active follower.
Good Lord.
Run around the globe with an active follower. Run a marathon.
And so and by doing, by sprinting around with them, so they gain 50 more health and 50 kg more carry capacity. Then companions will occasionally heal you when you have low health, because they appreciate you keeping their cardio exercise up. And then finally it doubles the bonus of combat and physical crew skills for companions.
Now, that's one that I think I already have maxed, but I mean, I run a lot.
So, and it's one that I won't otherwise take advantage of. Yeah, because the only time I ever have a companion with me in Starfield is, when I'm forced to, from the quests.
Right. No, that makes sense. I'm the opposite. I almost always have some kind of companion with me. It's I've been playing with Sahima mostly since Shattered Space. I mean, I play with the others still, but mostly Sahima.
Mm.
I feel like she's actually not as good at keeping up as some of the others. I don't know. But I'm constantly, I feel bad because I'm running and I'm like, Sahima, why aren't you following? And then I get like halfway up like the side of a crater. I look behind and she finally starts running.
Yeah.
And I'm probably 100, 200 meters away at least.
Well, you got to remember she's had a little atrophy because she was stuck in that prison cell down in that cave for a long time. So
Yeah, excuses, Sahima. Get to it. Besides, it's like 1.4 times gravity on Varun Kai, I think, or something. It's up there, She should be.
she could have been doing
grateful.
squats.
Yeah, exactly. Anywho, I'm glad you're getting those skills done, and you are going to ultimately get them all complete.
Yeah.
That is the goal.
Yeah. So, once I went through the Unity, I went back to Bezel 3B and started my my farm again. Only this time now, when I start off, I can build all the best extractors and all
Right.
the biggest containers, and so it takes a lot less time to to get going. On the flip side, it takes a lot more
Forever to level.
adaptive frames and isocylinder magnets, because I think right now It's it takes about 35,000 XP to level.
My God. You can also do those. What's the one with the like the containers? I always think of it as like you're making gas for your grill, like your propane tanks. It's something tanks. I always have overage of like iron and copper, and those ones you combine for that or something after I do the magnets and adaptive frames.
Magnets and adaptive frames,
Those
accessories.
propellant tanks. I don't know. Mr. Handy Fuel.
Yeah. But, because you can, because you've got all your, weapons research done and those skills are all maxed out, I could immediately, so the weapon on the wall in the basement of the lodge was an A99 advanced. So I immediately took that off the wall and, put a silencer on it and maxed out the damage to it. And so now it's, now I'm running around just absolutely destroying everything with that. And so, yeah, so it's been fun. I still haven't, I tried, when I was going to the different temples to collect powers, I was trying to use the buggy,
Sure.
and it's a useless pile of slag to me.
Oh, you don't like it? I mean, it's not like you have to go that far to get to the temple.
And the thing is that
sometimes you do.
Maybe if you had a high gravity planet that was devoid of all rocks and trees.
The rocks, Ray. How do I hit every rock on the way? It's like the front bumper is magnetic, rock magnetic, and just like
the thing is that if the planet that you're on has 0.5 gravity, you can't drive in a straight line anyway.
Is one Earth?
Yeah. And so, it just became so infuriating.
It's pretty funny. I enjoy it, but I mean, because you can go wild with it. But you're definitely like, I look at how I'm driving sometimes. I'm like, I am just all over the place. That's why modding, I use the egg mostly. That I'm what is it called?
Oh, is it like the hovercraft?
Yeah, the little hovercraft Jetsons looking egg. Yeah, there are a couple different ones, but I really like the one that I have. It's adorable. It's cute. You stay in the air most of the time. It's all good.
Yeah. But since I've got, fitness and weightlifting and gymnastics,
you can cover ground.
It's easier just to run.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, cool. So Fallout 76, some Fallout London, and a bit of Sneak Thiefing, and a lot of Starfield.
Yep.
Sneak Thief. How about you, Jess? You have a chance to play the video games this week?
I think I did, but it's one of those weeks where I'm glad we got some good feedback. I'll let the feedback do most of the talking because I didn't play a whole lot to write home about. I did a ton of Avowed. Talked about it last week already that I had finished the first area. I went into the second right after the show or right before, right around that time. And I'm pretty much done the second area. So I put another 20 hours in Avowed, probably, at least 15, finishing the second area. And I'm still loving it. It's great. I will say, after you get, what am I at now? Like 45 hours in or so, at least, maybe a little more. Combat does start to get a little more repetitive. But now that I have the third companion, because you have to, it's funny. There are 4 companions in Avowed. Okay, not to talk other non-Fallout games for too long, but in Avowed, there are 4 companions. And the first one you get almost right away. And the second you can get pretty darn quickly if you're following the main quest. Otherwise, you get them at least 5-10 hours in, whatever. But your third and fourth companions, you're not getting until the second area and halfway through the second area. And so in order to actually finish the one quest that you need to get that third companion, it's on the far side of the map. It would be like dropping us on the Fallout 4 map in Sanctuary and saying, you have to go down to, I mean, maybe not Warwick, but you have to make it down to the castle in order to do a quest successfully to unlock a companion. At that point, you're halfway through the game. And so they're really, I'm going to get to know the companions more over time, but I think maybe the game made a mistake making it so you don't have all 4 companions for most of the game. Now, when I finish the second area, I'm technically only halfway through. So it's at least half the game you have all the companions, but still it's a lot, especially if you play at my speed. But yeah, I'm loving it. Like level 13 or 14, still taking a lot of pictures, of course, and having fun with that. On the Bethesda side, I played a little Starfield, but nothing much to talk about here. I was trying to figure out, what did I do this week? Because I guess it was just Avowed during my gaming time. And there were a couple of funny nights, where you go to play Avowed, and we had a long work day. And, you're chatting with people, you're doing stuff, and then you sit down at the couch, and you're ready to play, and you wake up 4 hours later on the screen. Yeah. Yeah. I made the joke last week that, you're a true gamer if you're surfing your phone to, game menu music or pause music, because a lot of us do. But what happened yesterday, even, I logged into play and I didn't leave camp. Like, I saved camp, I loaded into my camp. I was, you do what you do. You check your inventory, you scrap some stuff, you start to craft some stuff. I woke up 4 hours later and I was still in camp. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to save.
So,
I didn't do a damn thing.
You must have been... Wait, what game were you playing?
That was Avowed again. Still
okay.
Avowed. Yeah. Having a great time with it. So I probably played 2-3 nights, but, that happens. Fallout 76. So we had the Fashnacht, as we know. Fashnacht wrapped up. Not a lot more there. I only did the 6 marches that I did. I didn't get another one in over the weekend. Did jump in. So one thing I do want to mention, separate from the regular gameplay, they did a little special thing this week on Tuesday. Some people may have seen around 2 p.m. On Tuesday, if you jumped in on a number of servers on PC, there were ghouls, player character ghouls running around.
What?
It was a bit of a little kind of surprise thing that they were doing. So yeah, we actually got some player character ghouls based on the official kind of Fallout 76 ghoul and the promo material. Jumping around, running around, seeing people in the wasteland, just kind of as a little tidbit of the update. So I hung out with one for a little bit, got some pictures, a few friends did on stream, and, just kind of getting the hype and the excitement for the next season coming up, which we'll talk about a bit when we get to the iguana bits. But good stuff. That was really fun.
Sweet, man.
Yeah, for sure. But that's pretty much it for my gameplay. Avowed and a bit of 76. But nothing special, no real stories this week. But that's good, right?
Yes. You need light gaming every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
How dare.
I mean, we still, it was a fun week. I worked on my computer stuff plenty more too. Y'all know that I've been resetting stuff. And I moved some stuff around, still rearranging. I got everything installed that I had gotten on it and gotten the more memory and the new hard drive and all that good stuff. And I've got, here's something exciting. I got a new pug bed coming for this little rapscallion behind me on the floor here.
It's made out of pizza.
Yeah, he wishes he could fall asleep in pizza. So he does need a pizza pillow. But no, long-time listeners know the pug is usually right behind me when he's not being hyperactive. He had a big raised bed for a while, but he was getting to a point where he's like, I'd rather just pull out my blankets and sleep on the floor. So now he's getting a nice orthopedic floor dog bed. Something to snuggle in, get more comfortable.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
Foam.
excitement. Right? It is memory foam, actually. I mean, it's a decent dog bed, I think. Oh, and I'm getting a nice, RGB mat and some more stuff for my PC too, new computer speakers, like computer stuff. But we're doing up the room. We're getting up. I spend so much time in here. You might as well do it up.
Dude.
That's my gameplay. How about you, Andrew? Anything fun?
Yeah, I've been messing around a little bit. I was messing with Shelter. I wanted to play... I remember Shelter you could load on your PC, so I was like, I wonder if I can load it on my Mac OS here on my desktop. No Shelter, but the Elder Scrolls Castles was there, and I was like, oh well, it says iPad, iPhone only, not optimized for this operating system. It's like, oh, whatever. I'll download it and check it out. Fucking Castles works perfectly on my on my Mac iOS desktop. It's pretty awesome. So I was playing that a little while, and it just kind of blew my mind that it works so well. But then I was just thinking, why wouldn't it? The iPhone is just a smaller version of this, Mac Mini that's sitting on my desk. You know what I mean? They're pretty much the same fucking thing at this point. So, but yeah, so I messed around with that a little. That was pretty fun. So anyone out there with I don't know why you would want to, but if you want to play on your Mac desktop, go for it. It's really fun.
Yeah, go for it.
I started another survival shelter in Fallout shelter. Because I had an idea of design where I would always, have your important rooms up top and sort of build down. You have your power, and you have your strength things, and then when you start filling out the other rooms, all that stuff starts happening way down, further down below. But I was thinking, oh, what if when I'm building the rooms, I account for a few moves down the road a little bit, and instead of building, 2-3 length power rooms with another 2 in the middle, because you get 8 blocks, so I always do the 3 on each end with a 2 in the middle. So instead of doing one power room that's 3-2-3, why not do the 2 3s, but then put the training room in the middle, so it's you're training on the job, so they can go straight from the training and sort of flow outward from the training room when they're trained up, and replace people and push them out, so that the other people, when the higher people who are trained go out, they can push the other people who are lower trained back into the training room, so they can actually get trained up. So I'm starting to I'm trying something new in shelter, trying to cycle through the people in a more efficient way. So I just thought that was a fun idea, trying to do on the job training cycle players through, see if I can get that to work. But
that's awesome. I mean, it is the best Fallout game, as we have often been told. We shared that
often been told.
Earlier today. You saw that. Oh, I'm sorry. Often been told by you.
Oh, come on.
You don't need told.
You mean you experienced?
I have lived the glory that is Fallout Shelter. Absolutely, many times.
So there's been that horse thing going around, right?
Yeah. Brandon shared that horse meme earlier. We did on the account to a few other people. I knew that would tickle your fancy.
Yes, but we were joking a little bit a couple days ago. I was just like, oh, so update it. You got the shelter in there. That's great, but you need to have Fallout 1 in there, which pushes Fallout 3 off, and then you can put Fallout 2 up a little bit higher, and that'll bump, just New Vegas off so you could just have the actual good Fallout games on there. But then I was thinking, after what I've played this week, I'm just going to have to bump even more stuff off, because I have had the most hardcore week of gaming that I've had in a good long while.
Really? This week you did? Oh, awesome.
I power leveled.
Game Pass?
I power leveled in Grognak in the Ruby Ruins game, in the Fallout 4 holotape game. I played it so hard this weekend. This all
Why
week.
Can't you be normal?
Oh my God, it was so much fun.
I
was hankering for Bard's Tale, something like that, and I just couldn't find anything that was really gripping me. But then I was just why not just play the fucking Grognak game like I tried a
Grog
few
Neck is
here and
great.
there, but it was like I played and I was like, this is exactly what I fucking want. So like I
It is. It's
you
a
know,
great game.
I dug into it real deep. And like the first time through, you know, there was a couple years ago I streamed it and sort of stumbled through and everything, but like if you actually explore it, like it's a great little tiny game. Like it's really cool, really fun, lots of good little writing and stuff involved with it. But I found out that like the first time through, I just would like stumble, get up to a bad guy. Oh, like oh gosh, you win. Okay, cool. Like and you know you get to another bad guy. Oh, the final bad guy. Yay! You like, but you know.
How long does it take to a playthrough? Like 3 to 4 hours?
I did like
approximately?
2 or 3 hours the first time through, but then you
Not
know
bad.
I don't know if I played the same way because I was finding different bad guys this time that maybe I just didn't, you know, go the same pathway or something as I did last time. But I was like getting destroyed by this like huge snake monster up north. So I quickly figured out that if I go into this little layer here, you know, beat this simple bad guy. It gives you a reward. You back out. Instead of going on about your business, you go right back in again. Oh, that guy's alive again. Oh, it gives me that same reward again. Oh, fuck. Here we go. You know, just like... So about, 6 hours later... Grogneck and his team are all like, max level, like 100 hit points with 100 damage and, 10 times what
That
they
is
should
awesome.
be. So I'm just walking around demolishing everything. It's really fun. So I'll probably quickly, run out of fuel with how fun this is. But like, for the time being, I was just like, holy shit, this is really great. I don't know why, but it totally scratched the itch that I don't know why. And then
There's a reason we love retro games, even if they're like simulated retro games in Fallout.
It's so silly that we're playing. Mo looked at me. He's like, "What? What are you doing?"
He looked at you just like I did a minute ago. Dad.
I'm playing Grogneck. He's like, "What? Are you playing? Wait." Because he saw the Pip-Boy? Like, they still have the Pip-Boy shape around the screen. So it's like, are you playing Fall? Yeah. I'm playing a game on my Pip-Boy. My character in Fallout is playing a video game. He's relaxing. And I'm relaxing. He's relaxing. He's playing a video game right now, but I'm just playing it for him.
I love that we can do that, And now we've all done that every once in a while. Just stop there, and whether it's that or Waste Lad.
That actually, Waste Lad is so good. That actually had me thinking, though. What other instances are there, like in other video games, like Cyberpunk? Can you pick up a game, a tablet or something in Cyberpunk and play something else? Like,
there you can come across a game console, so like a video arcade console, and you can hop on that and play the game.
Nice. How about like Starfield and stuff? Are there any games and that sort of thing?
A lot of the time, games have mini games. You know what I mean? Those are more common.
Yeah.
Like with The Witcher, you've got the card game Gwent. Or
or New Vegas.
Might and Magic 7, we had a card game called Arkham Age, which one of the best card games ever. I'm sorry, people. Final Fantasy 8. It was, what was it called? Triple Triad, I think. Anyway, they're just, there are these games within games, usually card games, other mini games. Like Fable is famous for them. You could play Loot Hero in Fable, which
Loot Hero.
level your bard skills, and it's like basically like Guitar Hero with a lute. Hilarious.
It's really funny.
But there are games where they have, like, as an Easter egg, put smaller games inside of games, like even like classic ones, where you get to a console and you can play something. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, Nuka Tapper is a fun one in Fallout 4 for sure. I can't think of one right now, but I feel like there is. Can't you play like the classic Doom inside of Doom on a terminal? You can play the classic
really?
Doom.
That'd be awesome.
I can't think of anything in Starfield though.
I can't either. No. It needs mini games.
You would think they would have something, At least asteroids or something. Yep. So having lots of fun playing my little game within a game. Besides in the Fallout Shelter thing, I was also doing the zines of the Commonwealth is the quest, but on both of my shelters I've gone right now, I'm just like, I'm gonna rush that real quick, because if you get up to quest number 5, that I think that's the easiest and fastest way to get to get a Mr. Handy robot in your vault, unless you miraculously win one in a lunchbox. But let's see. We talked about Grognak a little bit. The last thing I wanted to mention real quick was just the weapon design in Fallout 4. Was Fallout 3, like, if you look at the 10mm pistol, was it similarly bulky in Fallout 3 as it was in 4? Did they keep this similar?
Maybe even more so.
More so in 3?
Some of them were pretty chunky.
Yeah, but I was looking at the CBS Sunday Morning show, since it was Oscars this past week. They were doing lots of like little movies bits, and there was one about some auction agency who has just fun Hollywood memorabilia, and Deckard, what's his name?
Yeah, Deckard. Yep.
I can't say it.
Yeah.
Deckard.
I think
his gun was up for auction or whatever, and I looked at it and I was like, holy shit, that looks like the gun that they would have molded the Fallout 4 gun off of, and Lucy's gun in the Amazon series looks very similar to that. I think they did a really good job, but I was like, wow, it looks highly influenced by the Blade Runner pistol. I was like, well, that's probably a nod, because there's
Andrew. That's a good eye. No, technically, that is what the gun called That Gun is. The gun, that gun is in New Vegas officially, right?
Yeah.
But
inside you break into the gift shop.
Yep.
And steal it from the back room.
Yep. And that's based on the pistol that you have, your starting pistol in Fallout 1 and 2. And those are completely based on Deckard's gun in Blade Runner. That was the model for it. So that's actually where it comes from. The 10mm in 3 and 4 is a variant. It's not quite exactly the same as that, but yeah. No. That was like a 223 or something.
I'm not a big lore or weapons guy, but I saw it and I was just like, wow, that is it right there.
It's got such a vibe. No, totally got that.
So that was fun. But anyway, that was my gameplay and stuff I was getting into this week. So let's roll up our sleeves and dig into a little bit of game time, shall we?
What time is it? Game time! Woo!
Let's get into it. Game time this week. I have prepared a Scream list because I had such a fun time with it last week. And we have been getting so into our little games within games conversation, Jess, that I have prepared for us our Scream list of Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 holotape games. There are 8 games with a bonus from Fallout 3. If you get this one, my mind will be blown. But let's go ahead and roll right through it. We'll take some turns. Scream at your phone. Everyone at home, let's go through the Fallout 4 and 76 holotape games. Ray, take honors, sir.
Grognak and the Ruby Ruins.
Grognak and the Ruby Ruins, the second best Fallout game. Yes, thank you. Jess, go ahead.
This is going to be hard. Like, I feel like I know them well, but I have not thought about them recently, Like the whole list, the whole spectrum of games we can play.
Everybody I'm
stalling for time. Can you tell? No. Let's go with Nuka Tapper.
Nuka Tapper, you got it, Jess. Back to you, Ray. Pitfall. Oh, bonus points if you could tell us what games they're based on too. Good job, Ray. Back to you, Jess.
I said it earlier, so we'll go with Wasteland.
Wasteland. Very good. I've never found that one that I know of. Is that 76 only, or is that in Fallout 4 as well?
I think it's Fallout 4 as well.
Is it? I don't know that I've ever played Wasteland.
I don't remember it from Fallout 4.
Yeah, I maybe I only came across it in 76 then. Maybe it's new.
They feel like they're so goddamn rare in 76. Like, I almost never find those magazines.
Yeah, I mean, because magazines, they've gotten more rare than they used to be because other people can find them and pick them over. Magazines, something that when they spawn the world, other people can grab them. It may not be that kind of magazine.
Yeah, right. Like, it's when it is a magazine, it's usually just the normal magazine, not the actual game magazine.
Robco Fun.
Yeah. Who are we on, Jess? We back to you?
No, I think we're on Ray.
No, we're on Jess.
Oh, the first one you get, Red Menace.
Red Menace. Very good. Jess, back to you. Who got...
Red Menace is kind of like a Space Invaders, right?
Red Menace is the platformer back and forth. He throws the barrels down the construction site.
Oh.
A little more like
okay. Yeah, of course it is. So I got to remember, I feel like there is a Space Invaders, right? I feel like there is is the whole, when there's Missile Command.
Yes.
Like.
What are our space friends called in Fallout?
So I'm trying to remember. Well, I mean, I know what our friends are called, but what is the game called? Like Zayton Attack?
Oh, very close. Just take the
Zayton
real
Invaders?
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, back to you, Ray. We got 1, 2, and the bonus.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a mini game in 76.
You've never picked up a holotape game in 76?
No.
I was looking. I mean, I could go back and look at my other characters, but I was looking at my inventory, and I definitely hadn't had any in the past, year or so. I definitely would have held on to that. And they just spawn in the same locations as the bobbleheads, right? The magazines, the games, and the bobbleheads are all the same spawn points. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, the magazines can be all different magazines. They can all be in the same spawn points. I don't know if magazines overlap with bobbleheads. I'd have to look that up, and I don't want to while we're doing it.
No, don't.
Just give me your phone.
The Robco game that you pick up with Sturgis. What is that? Oh, I can't remember. Damn it. Nope.
All right.
I got nothing.
Jesty, can you remember any more of the?
I might be out too.
Right.
I'm thinking hard. They are based on real life games, so we got to get back to like the classic kind of thing. But there isn't like a Qbert. No, I think there was a Missile Command, and
there is a Missile Command.
But what is it called? And is there one based on Power Armor? We already got Red Menace.
You got Red Menace. You got most of them. Go with that Missile Command one.
Right. Okay. Missile Command. Right. We did Zayton Invaders, Space Invaders. Missile Command. I'm for the listeners. I'm doing visuals. It's like I feel like it's going to help if I channel the missiles coming at me.
She's doing mushroom cloud with her arms.
We're figuring it out. I'm a visual rememberer. God, there's not just one called Fallout. No, that would be 2 on the nose. It's
No, that's the Waste Lad.
Yeah, pretty much. People are definitely screaming at their phone. I'm just giving you all more time to scream at your phone.
Scream away, people. Scream away.
He
You're
should
just
be
sitting
doing
in
the
traffic
click on
anyway.
Your think timer at me to, shut me up. But
Quick
what would
on
it
your
be
think.
called? Because it's not Fat
Oh
Boys.
my God, I forgot
Is it
about
just-
quick on your think.
Is it just Rocket Command? We're gonna go with
God,
Rocket
you are
Command.
so close. Ray, do you have any steel guesses? It's Atomic Command. Atomic Command. Very close on that one. All right. There was one more that was in Fallout 4, not in the base game, but introduced with one of the DLCs. Does that give you a clue?
Was it a Nuka World one?
No.
Then it would have been Far Harbor.
No.
Oh, Automatron.
Automatron.
It's actually the name of the game, too.
It is. You are correct.
Yes.
Anybody at home know the Fallout 3 bonus game? Not a holotape game, but it is a bonus
I do.
game. Do you? What is it?
It is in the actual Robco. I mean, in the comic factory.
It
It's in
is.
like the on the terminal, and it's basically a
Very
text
good.
adventure. Is it Zork?
It's
Is it like the first Zork?
It's a Grognak game called The Reign of Grellock.
Okay. Sorry, I
Very
forgot the name.
cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm very proud that you knew that. That's very good. All right, guys, you pretty much cleaned
Hubris
house.
Comics.
I would not have been able to do nearly as well myself. So kudos and good job on this week's version of
What time is it? Game time! Boom!
All right, so let's roll right in to a quick break after the game.
Yeah. So I wrote down. I need a quick break up the game because there was something I remembered. I did look up the information on the Fallout London DLC. I meant to chime in after Ray with my own. I just kept going. I just kept talking about my lack of gameplay. So the actual here's what they're adding to Fallout London in the next several months over the course of like maybe one or two DLCs.
Oh.
So rabbit and pork.
Nice.
It's called Rabbit and Pork.
What'd you say it's for pork and beans? What? No,
I
what'd you
said
say?
pork and lamb, pork and beans.
Pork and
Lamb.
lamb.
I mean, that's British to me, okay? Because we don't really eat that much rabbit. Maybe you can tell I'm not a Southern girl, but I don't, I don't know where they eat rabbit in the U.S. They don't much, right?
Welsh rabbit, right? Isn't that a thing?
Sure.
Welsh
yeah.
rarebit.
Conies. Anyway, Rabbit and Pork is an interesting NPCs update, and it's going to bring a bunch of new characters to Fallout London and quests along with them. So kind of like the whole 3D NPC thing that we had in Fallout 4. And we're just adding a bunch of characters here and there and quests along with them. Then they're doing something called Last Orders, and that's most of the cut content that didn't make it in the game. It's all the cut side and miscellaneous quest missions that they get working in new areas like Ray's talking about. And then the final one was what I was talking about called the Wild Card update. And that's the DLC that will restore the cut final ending from the Wild Card storyline, bringing closure to its arc and unveiling associated quests. So yeah, interesting NPCs, previously cut content, and then a new ending. Those are the big ones. Good times.
Very nice.
Yeah. You need to be able to storm London with, or storm Westminster with the pistols and spread anarchy in the game.
Yeah, you do. They need to add more of that for sure. More anarchy in the Fallout UK. Save me, Andrew. Play some feedback.
Play some feedback.
Mhm.
I just sorry, I was looking up Welsh rarebit.
It would not be the Fallout feed without some food. We told you guys, episode 501. We're coasting now, okay?
I did
totally
make a
checked
nice
out.
paella with rabbit.
Let's take a food break. Paella, really? With rabbit?
Yeah.
I thought paella had seafood in it. What's paella?
Paella has a lot of stuff. The most common paella I make is with chicken. It's the Valencian or Valenciana.
From Valencia.
Balenciaga.
Valenciano.
No.
But yeah, it can just as easily be with meat as it is with seafood. So
Yeah, definitely had it that way before. I think you're thinking of his ceviche. I mean, we talked about ceviche a bit. That's all seafood.
Right.
yeah.
And the paella can be various things.
Yeah, what is it?
But
Is it
I prefer chicken over
Mhm.
rabbit. So
Yeah, Jen does too. Don't eat rabbits. It's not right.
yeah.
Yum. What did I have this week that was great? Oh, I had a really good bacon cheeseburger yesterday. It was so good. A bit of A1 on it. The bacon was nice and crispy. Yeah, really tasty.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's the only beef I can, agree with putting A1 on is a hamburger.
what about steak?
No.
Really?
Sacrilege.
No steak sauce on steak. That would be wrong.
I
No,
mean, that's only if you only can cook crappy steak.
Yeah, I do like it with just a bit of butter and Worcestershire myself, usually.
Ugh, not even Worcestershire.
Oh, I like Worcestershire. I
Butter,
usually
garlic,
cook
and
with it in the
herbs.
pan.
That's it.
Mhm. Yeah, a lot of people don't just use butter, and that is a great way to have a steak. Just let it speak,
That's the right way to have steak.
Or if you like it, well done, like Andrew, steak sauce. Right, Andrew?
I just think steak sucks ass. Really, I'm not a fan
Well,
of the
if
dish.
you eat it well done, then yes, it does.
well,
For these and more
I just
controversial
can't
takes.
choke it down if it's not well done. I get so fucking grossed out by pink meat. Like it's disgusting to me. I cannot eat meat with pink in it. That makes me feel like I'm gonna get salmonella and die or something. Screw that.
Yeah, no, I like mine. You know me, I like a medium rare. I will eat an actual rare steak or even blue occasionally, but medium rare is how I usually get it. And yeah, like Ray, just a little seasoning, a little butter. That's perfect.
If I have to eat steak, burn the shit out of it and drown that shit in A1. That's how we roll. And I will choke it down, but
a little of me just died
that's
inside.
only if I'm forced to eat steak, which I am only have to like a couple times a year.
Stratoblaster in chat is just like, he's dying. Poor man. He was with us last week and he didn't even know this about you. I shouldn't have brought it up.
I love hamburger, despise steak. I will eat chopped steak all day long. One of my favorite dishes.
Yeah, Salisbury steak. You mean hamburger?
So good. Yeah. Or just if you take a real steak and with one of those cool little square hammers with all the teeth on the face and you just smash the fuck out of it, that's great too. As long as you break all the proteins down,
steak pre-chewed.
you break all the proteins down in my steak form because I don't like to chew food. I'm a lazy son of a bitch.
But beyond that, you have some pretty good tasting food. There's some.
I like a child.
If you eat a well done steak, you're going to have to chew 10 times harder than you would if you ate a medium rare.
But the thing is, as soon as I got a medium rare
if you
steak
can't get
into my
through
stomach,
the whole,
I would regurgitate it right back up. I just would.
Yeah.
I get so grossed out by pink meat. I don't know why it bugs me so much.
Wear a blindfold.
Enjoy the flavor. Wear
Yeah,
a blindfold. Yeah, fair. Hey, for those of you who actually like good food and good cooking, like, Ray's cooking, or like my friend Shreds, her Godzilla cookbook just hit #1 on Amazon this week. #1
Nice.
in the science fiction and fantasy category, like nonfiction crafting stuff, but in that category, it was #1 bestseller, above a number of Star Wars books and all these other things. Godzilla cookbook by Casey Baker. Check it out.
Yeah, I gotta get that.
Yeah, she already did the Sea of Thieves cookbook, which I think you might have picked up already. And there are some similar recipes, but there's plenty of new ones too. With the Godzilla theme, she went hard on trying to come up with, Godzilla-looking recipes that would make sense. Like, it's funny. In Sea of Thieves, there's a lot of food. In Fallout, there's a lot of food. In Godzilla, it's just like, what is the food? Just some traditional Japanese cuisine.
Restaurants.
Yeah, exactly. So she came up with some fun stuff.
So when they say cookbook, is this like actual food or more like anarchists' cookbook type thing?
No, we are not making bombs to blow up Godzilla.
Come
We are
on, Godzilla.
Jaeger bombs to drink while watching Godzilla.
Oh my God! Look at this guac.
Oh, you're looking at the Guaczilla? Yeah, you looked up for cookbook?
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
Mo would like
All right,
that.
Mo's gonna get this for fucking. We're gonna order this shit. Awesome. All right, good deal. All right, food break.
That was a good food break. I enjoyed it. Bacon cheeseburgers, paella, steak sacrilege. Good times.
How about,
Any?
can I have cheeseburger paella, Ray? Would that work?
Yeah, you could probably do that.
I've
I mean,
been,
there's certainly enough, beef in paella.
been really into dumplings recently. Give me some dim sum paella. Just throw the dumplings
Yeah.
right in there. I was realizing the other day.
That was about the only time I've ever really wanted to kill a food vendor.
Oh, what? What happened?
So, my job was to, taste food.
Right.
Steak.
And, this guy that had, been in 100 times before with different, with different companies, you know, told me, oh, you've got to try this pot sticker. It is, the absolute best. And, so he gave it to me, and, like pot stickers, you just pop the thing in your mouth. And it was a cheeseburger pot sticker. So not only was it really gross, but I'm allergic to cheese.
Oh no!
Right.
And so I just spit it across the room and told him to get the hell out
Right
of
in
my
his
office.
face.
And yeah, that was the last time. He started sending his son in after that to call on me.
That's funny.
But-
Do you see a lot of dairy used in Asian cuisine? You don't really, do you? They
No,
don't do a lot of
that's-
cheese or anything, right? Do they have
My
that
wife
lactose
asked me,
gene?
how come we're always eating Asian food? And I said, well, because most of it doesn't have dairy.
Yeah. They know how to use a lot of good spices and peppers, good variety there. So that's a good check. And the no dairy, that's a good check. The funny part of that story, right? The little addendum is that's the guy who created pizza rolls, right? Right?
No, those were around a lot longer before this guy came along. But
Oh, chat is pretty upset about cheeseburger pot stickers too.
So that sounds right up my alley. I'm who those are for.
That's fantastic. Well,
We had chicken tiki masala samosas this week that were fucking awesome.
oh God, I mean, first of all, chicken tikka masala, which is a little bit redundant because tikka is chicken, but
Right,
it's just one of the
like the
best.
ATM
That's
machine.
my favorite introductory Indian dishes. People, I'm like, you know what? You haven't had Indian cooking. Let's just go with tikka masala. You can get the straight chicken tikka, but chicken tikka masala is a good way to go.
Yep.
And yeah, in a samosa,
the paneer and the
Yum.
garlic naan. Just keep it simple.
Oh, speaking my
Yeah.
language.
yeah, I love the flavor of Indian food, but it all kills me because almost everything is made with yogurt.
Yogurt, yeah.
Yeah,
It's either got
lots
the
of dairy
yogurt
for
or
you.
the paneer. Yep. I can see
Yeah.
that. But like
Even-
a good
even
massaman curry or
tandoori-
something without.
Tandoori chicken, you look and it,
Sauce. It was all
it's this
yogurt
beautiful
sauce.
red, coating on it and everything. And yep, nope, yogurt.
Yeah, you gotta
See,
be
I
really careful with
love
those
that shit.
curries.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
and the massaman curry.
That's more of a Thai food. That's
is
a Thai,
Thai,
thing,
so
sorry.
it's coconut milk.
Yep.
I ate a lot
You
of
can
Thai
do
curry.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do coconut. Okay.
Yeah, because that's just ground up coconut, not actually milk.
It did not come from a cow.
It did not.
It came from a cow's coconuts.
Kinda.
Yeah. I'm okay eating cows. That's not a problem. And, certainly I have had, cow coconuts before. Well, not cow, cattle coconuts.
Rocky
before.
Mountain oysters.
Yeah.
Ew.
Was that for work?
No. It was at a
A guy walked in. He gave him a
Some
pot
guy in a
sticker.
big cowboy hat walks
Been
in
into
and says,
it.
"Boy, have I got something for you."
there was this great restaurant that we used to go to when we would go to Denver, and it's called The Fort. And it's, this big, wood fire cooking,
Awesome.
all kinds of, giant steaks and, meats of all kind. And on their appetizers, they had, rattlesnake and Rocky Mountain oysters. So,
Do you eat the rattlesnake too?
oh yeah.
Yeah. Is the tag actually tasty?
The meat is so small, it's hard to really taste
Oh, really?
anything. All you're tasting is all the stuff that they bound it up and fried it in.
Right. The sauce, it's like tofu. Tastes like whatever you cook it with.
Yeah. But fortunately the Rocky Mountain oysters, like so many, offals, is, it's just chewy.
Like
Yeah.
real oysters.
Oh no, real oysters better not be chewy.
I'm a little chewy.
I mean, you
I'm
don't even bite oysters.
thinking more clam. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, oysters are meant to be slurped.
Do you eat
Ew.
other organ meat, Ray? Have you had like chitlins and that, tripe and that sort of stuff?
I have had it. Not a huge fan. Love chicken livers. Fried chicken livers,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
with bacon, are fantastic. But gizzards are tough,
Mm-hmm.
and
Gritty.
most of the large animal, stuff is. I mean, I try to limit the amount of liver that I eat because
You don't want to get too much vitamin A, what have you.
well,
Iron something? What?
well, so liver is the the body's filter.
Oh, right.
Mhm.
Lots of. That's
So
where
there
you
can be
get
some
rid of the
negative,
bad
nasty stuff in
Yeah.
it too.
Well, it depends on what they ate.
Yeah, there was a restaurant up in Maine we used to go to. James would always get plate of fried chicken livers. Loved it. Yeah, just he's like, I love the chicken livers here. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not eating off your plate today. Your food is safe.
No picking.
Yeah. But yeah, and I do love a good natural casing on a sausage. So
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice snap.
Wow. This was some very unusual food talk today, even for us.
Good food
stuff,
talk.
though.
All right, let's
Yeah.
let's check in with some feedback. What do you say?
Let's go.
What's up, everyone? This is Pyro Anderson. Yes, I'm the one starting this time because this is my show. Whatever, man. Just keep in mind that you're a guest here. This is my place. Yeah. Keep telling yourself that, bub. I mentioned last time that I got a message on my Pip-Boy to go investigate something. Turns out that it was a vault door that had been blown off and went clear across Appalachia, hundreds of miles. From the number on the door, looks like it came from Vault 63. The woman that was just kind of hanging out there said that it was down in the far south area of the Toxic Valley, and I should probably go check it out to see what caused that explosion. Sure, what the hell, I've got nothing better to do. Trek all the way down there and get in the vault, and inside I was swarmed by a bunch of what looked like ghouls with this, glowing black purple skin with lightning bolts across their face. Kind of looked like a storm cloud, if I'm trying to make an analogy. And the whole time that they're running around attacking me, they're spewing this crazy-ass bullshit that I couldn't really understand. There were so many of them talking at the same time, and it was a bunch of nonsense. After I took them all out, I get this person on an intercom named Hilda that's talking to me, saying, "Hey, how'd you take them all out?" She doesn't know me very well. I'm pretty badass, and I can handle a horde like this, no problem. Apparently, this isn't the area where Vault 63 proper is. This was just an area that was a transport section for the rest of the vault down south in the Skyline Valley area. Always did wonder what that big crazy-ass storm was in the sky, all red and everything. Guess I'm gonna find out firsthand. Hilda wasn't too specific on where I'm supposed to go down there, but I make my way down there and I find this guy named Craig who looks like he's about ready to wet himself. Thought I was gonna attack him and his cat named Caddy, original name. Apparently him and a few of his friends had already been attacked and they're missing. He wants me to find out where they are and whether or not they're still alive. And if I find them, I just need to place a flare where they're at. Sure, what the hell, no problem. The closest one was at this place called Makeout Point. My kind of place. Had to fight off some wolves and blood bugs, but it looked like there were some people there that was there when the bombs dropped. I couple that was in the back of a truck. Been there a few times in the vault. Yes, believe it or not, there were cars in the vault. We needed to be able to drive when Reclamation Day happened, right? Kind of funny, though. In the back of the truck, there was a note from the guy's dad that was encouraging him. Apparently, he borrowed his dad's truck, and the dad just didn't want him to wreck it. Oops. Anyway, I find the body across this beam, leaned over in a not-so-friendly way. Placed a flare there. The next one was in this tunnel right inside there.
Pretty please.
There were a few lost in there. I guess that's what those ghoul-like people are called. Lost. They certainly are lost. Lost their damn minds. The final body was at the entrance of this mansion where I'm supposed to go anyway, so that was kind of convenient. Found some dog tags, placed a flare there. Make my way inside, fighting a few lost, and inside I had to fight waves and waves of more of these damn guys. Wasn't a huge problem until I find one that has some power armor. That guy was a tough bastard. Gave me a few good hits, but I finally took him down. Make my way down there, and Hilda is on another intercom, and apparently there's a hand scanner, so I had to cut the arm off of this lost who had a Pip-Boy and use that to open the door. And lo and behold, Hilda is a ghoul. Not a big deal, I've met ghouls before, but I was expecting another lost. You know, there are some non-feral ghouls. I expected a non-feral lost. Turns out there are some non-feral lost, and one of them just happens to be her dad, Hugo. He was a scientist, which immediately threw up some red flags. After everything that happened with Blackburn, I do not trust scientists whatsoever. Fuck them. Scientists never do anything out of the goodness of their own heart. Somehow they lost it along the way. And wouldn't you know it, he wants my help. I gotta go talk to Oberlin, his chief of security, and see what he needs. After I agree to help him, go talk to Hugo again, and that's it for now. So, hey, why don't you wrap this up?
Wow, that was actually pretty fast. I'm surprised you got it done in that amount of time. So, yeah, this is actually my third time going through the Skyline Valley story. Went through it with the character I'm going to ghoulify first, and then quickly after that went through it with my main character. So I'm pretty familiar with the story, but it's completely different going through it with a character like Pyro. So this is going to be fun. I just realized that I completely forgot to mention the turkeys, the thrashers, yeah. So I ran into them about the same time you guys did. And they were something that I looked for pretty quickly after first going down into the Skyline Valley zone. And yeah, they're no joke. Like I said in the chat last week, don't mess with turkeys. So one thing that I was really hoping that we would get with these thrashers that we didn't is turkey meat. We could make so many new recipes with thrasher meat, but we didn't get that, and I have no idea why. I'm really kind of disappointed. Kind of funny, though, the first time that I killed one, it dropped Deathclaw meat. No idea why. I mean, I'm guessing that they are a skin, like a remodel of a Deathclaw, but I thought that was kind of interesting. So, yeah, going through this zone is definitely an experience. A little tip, there is a vending, like player hub area in the far southeast called the Trading Hub. And it's a free fast travel point, and it has everything you need there, all the crafting benches, storage bins, and also pretty frequently you can find 2 different bobbleheads there. So definitely go find that. As far as when you get to the mansion and have to fight those waves of Lost, yeah, that is a tough fight. I don't remember it being a tough fight with my main character especially, but that Lost in power armor kicked my ass so many times. Thankfully, his health does not replenish every time you die like the sheep squatch. But
Yes,
yeah, that was
I noticed
definitely
that too.
a tough fight. Also, I had to kind of speed through the end there because while I was playing this on stream, my sister messaged me. She just picked up an Xbox Series X and wanted to play some 76 with me. So she was actually in the server going through the vault while I was wrapping all this up. So I kind of like cut it a little short and went and met her as she was leaving the vault. So I was there when she started her Fallout journey, and I was there to greet her as she entered the wasteland for the very first time. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, that will do it for now. Can't wait to continue this story with y'all, and I will see you all in the wasteland.
And we know that time-old saying, the family that games together stays together. That's fun playing with your siblings.
Yeah, it was great hearing him talk about it. He got in and he was doing his quests, and then his sister jumped in and played together. And like her first Fallout game, they played some 76 together. And then, she had questions about where to start, what to do with the story. And so he got her started on Fallout 4, where we've all been.
That's very dangerous. It's the same situation where that girl asked Will, have you seen the Fallout TV show? Like, where do I go? What do I do? He loaded her up with fucking everything, right?
But she's his sister. So she knows how it is. And she knows she was turning the spigot on that particular Fallout faucet.
Hilarious.
But no, I think he said he was being good. He was holding it back. He was just, letting her discover it herself a bit. But yeah, getting her in on Fallout 4. Great. He just shared some pictures in chat too. It's great to see her out of there in her vault suit, meeting Mothman for the first time.
That's when you don't give him anything, right? You follow around, you hop around and play with him, but you can't give him any stim pack. Don't let him have any good weapons.
Don't want to cheat him of that experience.
Make him earn it,
Right. Yeah. It can be nice, and 76 can be a little unforgiving. It's a hard one to start with. But, supposedly she does some shooters. But that was awesome. And a great hearing Pyro's story, too. Ray and I owe each other Nuka-Cola. We jumped in at the exact same time. About where'd you stick it, Pyro?
You mentioned the thrashers. Is that what they're called? The turkeys? Are they thrashers?
Yeah,
thrashers. Thrashers. He wanted the turkey meat, and I thought that was a good idea because then you could take the possum bacon and have the bacon wrapped turkey legs
with cranberry sauce.
Hell yeah! Sign me up.
I'm down with this too. We all agree on that recipe.
Yeah. Get a nice Thanksgiving burrito, Jess. Right?
Oh God, you're speaking my language. I haven't had one of those since Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, probably.
Why do I only have Thanksgiving burritos at Thanksgiving? We got to fix this.
I love a good Thanksgiving burrito on Easter.
Yeah, for Easter, 100%. Maybe we do breakfast burritos on Easter. We do ham and egg burritos.
You do your rabbit on Easter.
I'm really not going to do my rabbit.
Chorizo.
I really don't want to eat rabbit. Yeah,
chorizo on Easter.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
All right.
Yeah, and I do struggle with them calling turkeys thrashers in the game.
Okay, why? What's up?
Well, thrashers are the state bird of Georgia.
What is a thrasher?
So thrasher is brown. I think it's a member of the cuckoo family.
Is it
runs around on the ground?
Okay.
lives in bushes and hunts in your yard. So it's smaller than a crow, bigger than a mockingbird, but it's not a turkey.
I think those are called snipes.
No, those are what
you ever been on a snipe
when
hunt?
you're on camping trips. Yep.
Yeah, I think
blindfolded with
that.
sticks, beating the grass.
I will not deny that I may have been, on a 4-H excursion sent to look for a left-handed smoke shifter for the fire. We've all been there, right? It happens.
Oh, that's the best.
No snipe hunts,
older
though.
kids are the meanest. All right. No, it does. Yeah, I see it now, right? Cool. All right. Thank you, Mr. Solioser. Let's check in with Vanessa and see how things are going with her this week.
Hi everyone, this is Vanessa with my feedback for the first part of Skyline Valley. Free mostly from the shackles of the Brotherhood, Jim pursues his own goals once again, but finally gives in to his curiosity and tunes into the radio broadcast for Vault 63 that pops up on his Pip-Boy whenever he's near the White Spring. The broadcast from the vault directs him north, and he makes his way over from the Waywood, spotting a farmhouse in the distance and heading towards it. He thinks perhaps the house has been built over the vault entrance to obscure it. But as he walks along, he hears a woman talking to herself, and, turning around, notices for the first time a giant vault door buried in the middle of the road. The woman explains that the vault is actually located to the south, and while this feels like a trap of some sort, there is the unmistakable fact of the door embedded in the road. He should probably ignore this whole thing and carry on with his own business, but curiosity gets the better of him. Remembering his problems with the mutated Dr. Blackburn, he checks that his rifle is fully repaired before setting off. On arriving at the vault, he sees a figure against the far wall. From this distance, he assumes that some Scorched have made their way in, so he dispatches it and heads further inside. He hears the humming of voices, not like the Scorched after all. He thinks these sound much creepier, almost like they're in his own head. Suddenly they burst out towards him, shadowy figures with glowing eyes. He fires on them while retreating back the way he came in as more figures emerge from a second corridor. Some of them explode in a blue haze, while others die normally. The onslaught seems endless, but he's able to keep them from getting too close to him, and finally the flood of enemies slows down and then stops. Continuing in, he's accosted by a voice from an intercom. There's actually no longer any way through to the main vault from this tunnel, the voice explains, and he should head into the national park to find the actual way in. He continues his journey as directed, assisting a settler from Foundation in locating the bodies of his missing friends along the way, as well as being attacked by 3 creatures that he later learns are called Thrashers, although his caps were on Rad Turkey, based on normal wasteland naming. Arriving at a dilapidated-looking mansion, he encounters more of the strange electrical people. They're in 1s and 2s outside the building and much more easily taken care of out in the open. Just in case he should be lulled into a false sense of security, however, as soon as he enters the mansion he's set on by another huge crowd of them. Having only just got through the door, backpedaling to keep them at a distance is not possible this time. Applying stim packs at a rate of knots, his rifle packs up yet again. He's saved this time by having acquired a Gauss rifle somewhere on his earlier travels, which he still has on him, with a handful of energy cells. He heads up a wooden staircase and begins to sneak towards the far end of the room. Thanks to a newly acquired ability, the sneaking causes the remaining enemies to lose track of him, and, hidden from view, he's able to pick the stragglers off one at a time, until only their power armor-wearing leader remains. Final boss taken care of, he heads downstairs in search of the vault entrance. The same voice that he spoke to earlier comes over the intercom to say that he'll need a hand to activate the door, as in a literal hand, from one of the creatures he's just killed. But not just any hand, it would seem. The 2 nearest bodies are unsuitable for some reason, and he has to head back upstairs to find one. And finally he is in the vault proper, where he meets the woman who's been talking to him, a ghoul. This is unexpected, but he manages to bite his tongue and not insult her with an audible display of shock. He can't recall encountering a non-feral ghoul yet in his travels, but this vault is full of them, apparently due to radiation leaking into it and gradually transforming the dwellers. He wonders whether they're all on borrowed time, and whether, from the comfort of their leaky vault, they realise the fate that might be in store for them. Anyway, back to business. The woman directs him to the Overseer, who is not a ghoul, but instead one of the electrical people, although thankfully much more reasonable and less aggressive. These are the Lost, the Overseer, Hugo tells him, but then directs him to vault security before he will say any more. So that's it. I think I did go down and talk to the security guard, who was kind of a numpty, but yeah, that's the end of the quest. So I found this one probably the most difficult of the missions we've done yet, just from the sheer number of enemies that rush at you, so I did die not long after entering the mansion. Other than that, I've been a little bit more active in the game over the last week or 2 than I had been while we were doing the Steel Rain quest, so I've done about half of the Mistress of Mystery questline, I think, done some side quests from the White Spring as a result, and also the Responders dailies, the ones that open up the expeditions. What else? Finished up my character build as well, so I did a little bit of random leveling just to get the last few perks that I wanted, so I'm about level 65 now, so I got my assigned perks quite a while ago, but it's taken me a while to finish up, the full build, just because I've had a few stops and starts and changes of plan along the way. Also watched an Angry Turtle video a while back where he did a build of a pipe rifle or pipe gun using a character that picked up benefits from pistols and rifles, so I've been trying that. So the build was called the Plumber. And since I'd decided that the background for my character, such as he had one, was that he'd been a repair worker in the vault, I thought a little thematic build for him. So I switched over to that. It's been going okay for about a week, but I did that switch after we did the quest, so I'm not sure how pipe weapons are going to hold up against hordes of the lost, but I guess we'll find out. Anyway, that's all for this week. Take care, everyone, and see you in the wasteland. Bye.
Plumber, I've never heard anyone on purpose use pipe weapons, first of all. And then it's such a clever name like the Plumber. Come on, that's great.
The Plumber's a perfect name for that build. But pipe weapons in 76 were more viable than previous games. That was something we discovered early on, because we're so used to them being just utter crap, utter garbage.
Yeah. It's and if it's Angry Turtle, there's some min-max magic.
Exactly. He knows
involved.
his stuff. Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure it'll be, pretty dominating.
Well, good luck with that there, Vanessa. Glad to hear you're roaming the game again, too. She had been captured by Dragon Age for quite a while. So, we're all in the middle of our round table. We took our Dragon Age break, so she was playing a lot of that. So good to hear she's back in and experiencing new parts of the game. The whole new, first Fosnacht. That's an important thing to experience.
It's a rite of passage in every Fallout player's world.
Wide-eyed wonder.
Yep. Time to march with the robots. Yeah, by the end, you're just like that old Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Let's check in with Sean.
The Chronicles of Isaiah Pollux, Part 6, On the Road Again. Here I am, on the road again, making the long slog back to the forest where this adventure first started. It's been 2 weeks since I was able to tune in the radio broadcast that started out so faintly on my trusty Pip-Boy. Of course, it was an automated message, but the voice was familiar and comforting, but also somehow unnerving. Once I was able to get a fix on the origin of the broadcast, I quickly packed my newly acquired, seemingly bottomless pink princess backpack with everything I would need for an excursion into what sounded like some kind of emergency. Extra stim packs and ammo, enough food to last a couple of weeks, and, of course, some extremely valuable toilet paper I picked up at a Red Rocket superstation up north of Sunnytop. I made some repairs to my armor, along with some upgrades, cleaned up my trusty rifle and my new plasma flamer I picked up in Watoga after helping Modus set up some comm links to the Kovac Muldoon weapons platform that I was duped into thinking was a communication satellite. My first stop would be White Spring to resupply, and then to the Wayward to see my friend Duchess before trotting off to the source of the transmission. I walked into the bar, and I was greeted like an old friend. "You look like you're thirsty, but have a drink first before you tell me where you're off to this time, handsome," she asked me. "I'm not really sure, to be honest, Duchess, but I'm going to follow this Vault-Tec signal I got on my Pip-Boy and see where it goes." We spent the rest of the evening making small talk, and I told her about my adventures in the West Virginia wilds. "Sounds very exciting. I sure am glad you were able to stay in one piece and not get yourself killed," she said. "Me too," I said, after considering how easily that almost happened more times than I could count. "You wouldn't happen to have a room and a warm bed I could sleep in before I leave in the morning?" "Depends on how warm, sugar," she said coyly with a wink. "How come you don't just build a camp across the way like everybody else?" said Mort, with more than a little bitterness in his voice. "I gave you all those holotapes the first time you came by. Put 'em to use and leave Duchess alone." I turned my gaze to him, and my eyes narrowed a bit. "Mort, do not give me a reason to get off this stool and give you a piece of my mind. I am speaking to the lady, and if I wanted your opinion, I would easily extract it from you in a variety of ways." His eyes grew wide, and that was the last I had heard from Mort. Turning back to the very pretty Duchess, "Thanks, honey, but I really need to be leaving early, and while that offer of the warmest bed you have is hard to turn down, I will need all my wits and stamina for whatever comes at me." She then tossed me a key to the trailer next door and said with a smile, "Next time, then." I drank the last bit of my beer and headed off to get some much-needed rest. I couldn't help but smile on my way out the door. Early the next morning, I tuned my Pip-Boy into the radio signal and set off. It wasn't too far away, according to my GPS, and when I arrived at the location, my eyes went wide. Laying there in a giant gash in what used to be the road to Sutton was a giant gear-shaped vault door. I had never heard of Vault 63, but there was, its door still smoking and steaming as if it had just landed there an hour ago. Before I could even step closer to examine the huge slag-covered door, I heard footsteps behind me. I spun quickly and in the same motion brought up my weapon and flipped off the safety. How careless I had been, my attention fixed on that vault door, so enthralled. Thankfully, it was no threat, but a young girl dressed in a dirty but functional pocketed vest with jeans and a backpack and a rifle slung on her back. I almost killed you, you know. Yeah, sorry about that, she said. You with Vault-Tech? Yeah. You know anything about this? I said, looking back at the smoking wreckage. It came from Vault 63. No shit, I said under my breath. I hear that vault is down in the ash heap. Are you trying to go down there? She asked. I am. Well then, let me mark it on your map so you can find it. She walked over, grabbed my arm, and put the coordinates into my Pip-Boy. You better be careful, though. The air down there can make you sick, and then there's them mole miners. I hate mole miners. Not even sure what they are, only that they're a pain in the ass. She and I shared a quick snack, some water, and I was on my way. I hope this isn't some wild goose chase. If this doesn't work out, my only choice will be move away from this place. Maybe to Washington, D.C. or out west. Maybe back home to California. Several days later, I arrived in the ash heap and began my search for Vault 63. The coordinates Alyssa gave me were more of a general vicinity, and so I began combing the area. This place had it a lot worse than the rest of Appalachia. The air was foul and smelled of sulfur, and God only knows what other noxious fumes were in the area. Fortunately, I had just come from Helvetia, and I had one of those dumb masks in my backpack. I was surprised at how well it worked to filter out the deadly gases. Just as I noticed a large crack in an uplifted section behind some destroyed houses, I was ambushed by 3 or 4 mole miners. These guys are so weird. They grumble and spout gibberish, all while trying to shoot you at close range with a rocket launcher. Fortunately, I was able to dispatch them quickly without taking too many hits. I popped a stim pack and headed into the void. It was definitely a vault and looked like it had seen better days. The door, as expected, was completely gone and the entrance was in ruin. As I slowly stepped into the darkened shelter, I retrieved my new Enclave-branded plasma rifle and slowly pressed forward. No sooner had I stepped in past the intake area, I started hearing voices. Strangely, they sounded like people, but then again, didn't. I was almost like they were scorched, but the speech was more coherent. All at once, the place came alive with these creatures, because they certainly weren't people. Not anymore. They began to swarm me, cutting off my exits and shooting different types of weapons. Some would charge towards me only to explode in a burst of electrical energy. Thankfully, my newly upgraded armor was able to protect me, and I sprayed plasma all around, aiming for the closest of the monsters. Some burned away, some turned to puddles of green goo. It was close quarters down there, and I took a few hits, but they took a lot more. They were tougher than the Scorched, for sure. After a battle that seemed to last much longer than it actually did, I was able to down the last one, exhausting nearly all of the ultrasight plasma ammunition I had brought with me. I slumped against a wall at the back of one of the few rooms that had not caved in, caught my breath. That's when I heard the voice. "Anyone there?" the voice beckoned. The voice came from a small intercom, and it sounded as if someone was trapped inside somewhere. I replied into the small box, and the voice on the other side exploded into light and began asking questions and giving me information on a plan to find the main entrance to Vault 63. It all sounded very suspicious. Her name was Hilda, and apparently this vault entrance was a transportation line that led to the actual vault, which was located in the Skyline Valley Park, south and east of my current location. Fantastic. More walking. Fun. 6 days later, after an uneventful trip over the mountains and into the Skyline Valley, I stood at the gates to the park and stared southward. In the distance, I could see a storm of magnificent proportions. The sky was an angry reddish-orange color, and the lightning was constant. What is going on down here, I thought. Is this what sent the door flying all the way to Sutton? I muttered to myself. I need to understand what's going on down here. How is Vault 63 involved in all this? Is this another Vault-Tech experiment, and how did it go so horribly wrong? I checked my pack and my weapons and headed into the eye of the storm. A short while later, I came to an area that was unfriendly to say the least. The ground appeared to have been tossed around like it had been in a cement mixer and just dumped out everywhere. At its center was a large building, a mansion, and the grounds were a maze of giant upturned chunks of earth and what looked like magma or lava. There were more of those quasi-scorched creatures as well. What did Hilda call them? The Lost? I had to kill at least 4 or 5 of them before I could finally enter the building. Inside were so many more. Again, out came the plasma weapon and more puddles of green slime and charred bodies. There was even one of the monsters in power armor. That one was a little more of a challenge, but after a few tense moments, he too was eliminated. Most of the house was in ruin, but I located a stairway down to the basement level. If there was a vault entrance anywhere in this house, it most certainly would be down there. And of course, I was right. As I approached the door, I saw a palm pad, most likely to prevent anyone from entering the vault who shouldn't be entering. That would be me, I thought aloud. And just as I was trying to think of a way to bypass, I heard Hilda's voice again from yet another small intercom to the left of the door. She told me that in order to bypass the pad, I would need to use the palm of one of the Lost, as they used to be dwellers and would have the necessary permissions. Surprised I didn't think of it first, but okay. I was able to find the corpse of one of these Lost that I hadn't completely melted. I removed the hand from the poor fellow and pressed it against the pad. Bingo. When the door opened, I immediately reached for my sidearm. In front of me stood a ghoul, and I was taken completely by surprise. "What the? You're a ghoul?" I blurted out. Of course she was. I had seen many in my travels, some sane, most feral, but this one was holding a clipboard and wearing a Ushanka hat. I lowered my weapon, but I remained alert. She introduced herself. This was Hilda. We spoke for a few minutes about what I have no idea. I had never been that close to any ghoul, and frankly, I was a bit freaked out and also a little curious. It was so wrinkly, and she looked like she was kind of crunchy. After several minutes, she asked me to go speak with her uncle, the overseer. I stepped through the door into the overseer's office, walked forward, and was greeted by none other than Hugo Stoltz, the overseer of Vault 63. Before the Great War, Hugo Stoltz was a prominent member of the Vault Tech Board of Directors and very well thought of among his peers. He and his wife Cassidy once came to the laboratory where I was being treated after coming home from Alaska. We didn't meet, but I saw him in the hall and recognized him from the news. And, of course, he had no idea who I was. He was quite different now, looking like an electrified ghoul or one of the Lost I had come into contact with. He agreed that his condition was strange, but by all accounts he was not one of them. He still had his mind, and the change, at least for him, was welcomed. He told me of how the vault came to be, its immense size, and the weather machine he designed and had built before the war. It was this machine that had caused the destruction, the storm, the earthquakes. It was also this machine that was responsible for his transformation. He had been ghoulified after the war, but this machine enhanced him. He also thought it was a way to bring back his beloved wife from becoming feral, a process that failed miserably, and now he wants to fire this machine up a third time. I do not think this is going to end well. My mind began to formulate a plan. I can assume the position Stoltz needs me to fill, gain his trust, and then, at the end, try to prevent this madman from further destroying what is left of Appalachia. He directed me to his security chief Oberlin, another ghoulified vault dweller and typical army cast-out. He grilled me about my past and what I'd been doing since the war. I danced around those questions easily enough, grabbed the report Stoltz had requested, and returned to the overseer. We spoke again for a short while, and it is his condition and why he has become enhanced while so many others were cursed that escapes him. He needs me to find the answer, and because I have experience with other vaults and the dangers lurking on the surface, I am key to him finding the answers that he wants. This is going to be a lot easier than I thought.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Sean. Good to have you on the episode last week, and appreciate your feedback, the account. Getting over there to the mansion.
Really deep into the story there with Isaiah. One thing Sean's been doing throughout, of course, is with Isaiah, some storytelling. We're getting the story of his actual experience from his character, which is based on the stats he rolled and weapons he's using and such. But I really feel like, and I don't know how much Stratoblast or may have role played in the past, but his character's taking on a life of his own. I really enjoyed the intro with Duchess. I thought that was a fun segue into the adventure from the point where because he had not been able to, join in on the last half of the last half of the middle of the round table, shall we say. And so that was a great segue coming in. I can get behind his thoughts on Duchess too, although, what more did he, be nice to the guy. But yeah, knowing the history that Isaiah does in the scientific community and recognizing Hugo Stoltz, that was a really kind of cool touch to the story. I like that a lot.
Absolutely. Alrighty. We have one more feedback for the evening.
Episode 8. The Storm Without, the Storm Within. While restocking at her camp, Toe Cutter was listening to her Pip-Boy radio and heard a special ping that denoted a Vault-Tec priority message. She immediately changed to the Vault-Tec emergency channel, which was being transmitted from somewhere west and south of her camp. The message was corrupted, but the authentication code was Barracuda and involved a vault's blast door integrity being compromised. Toe had no idea what the code Barracuda meant, but it required that any Vault-Tec personnel respond under Emergency Protocol ET-21. She couldn't find Protocol ET-21 in any of her Pip-Boy's reference materials, so not knowing what to expect, she packed up and headed out. Heading west cross-country, she made her way to the Slocum's Joe coffee shop on U.S. Highway 59, then south toward Sutton. She'd been down this road many times, but didn't recall any evidence of a vault being in the area. She soon encountered a large cloud of dust slowly settling. There in the middle of the destroyed road was a Vault-Tec outer door, as if it had fallen from the sky like a meteor. She also found a woman named Alyssa, marveling at the sight. She was talking to herself and said that Paige at Foundation would want to know about this. For some reason, she thought Toe was there to collect it, as if a single person could move a vault door. She told Toe that her friend had identified it as belonging to Vault 63, which she said was in the southeast corner of the ash heap. Toe couldn't imagine what kind of explosion could have dislodged a vault door and thrown it so many miles. Alyssa also mentioned that some kind of weird storm was forming in that area. Toe asked about Foundation, and Alyssa said she was a scavenger working for them, and speculated that the vault door could have been blown here by a nuke, or maybe the Brotherhood had some kind of a magnetic bomb, or it might have been the mole miners digging where they shouldn't be. She went on to say that if Toe went there to investigate, the usual ash heap protection protocols applied, meaning a gas mask or respirator was mandatory. Toe thanked her and headed out for the long trek to the southeast corner of the ash heap. Every few miles she stopped to triangulate the signal from known sources. Passing through Charleston, she came to the fire department. Heading south into the ash heap, she put on her gas mask. West of the Garahan estate, Toe found a cave within which was a supply entrance for Vault 63. Passing the former home of the vault door, she was beset by some former residents of Vault 63. The reception was not cordial. They were no longer human, nor were they scorched, but something else. They still wore their vault suits, but had become insane, sprouting raspy warnings, desires, and assorted nonsense. In addition, those that got close enough had an electrical discharge that was quite painful. Once they were dealt with, she proceeded inward through the hazy smoke and terrible smells of the deceased. She passed through an inactive radiation arch and found an intercom. Gingerly, she pressed the button, expecting nothing. She was shocked to hear a clearly human voice asking if there was someone there. She replied, "Hey, there's some crazy electric ghouls up here." The woman who identified herself as Hilda was quite surprised that Toe had eliminated the creatures that she called the Lost. Hilda asked if she was up for a hike and proposed they meet up. Hilda told her that the outer area, which had contained a rail system to carry supplies to the rest of the vault, was now fully collapsed and directed her to an alternative entrance nearer to the vault's atrium. She directed her south to a stormy park with a manor at the middle. Hilda then cut the connection. Not left with any real answers, Toe left the vault entrance and headed south. The area had been marked on her map by Hilda, and as the route south became more impassable, Toe turned to the east. Coming over a ridge, she suddenly saw the strange blood-stained storm to the south. It was like nothing she had ever seen, a swirling red blotch on the sky. There was a large round building beneath it, with strange antennae on its upper rim. It seemed to be beckoning to the storm, or projecting it. Donning her Hellcat power armor, she started down the mountain. When she could see the areas surrounding the round building, she saw several of the strange robots called robo-brains. From her vantage point, she started sniping them with her night vision Gauss rifle. She then continued down to the building and found that it was part of an underground facility called the Hawksbill Weather Station. Given what she knew about the origins of Fort Atlas, she had to assume that the facility had to be another attempt to control the weather that had gone terribly wrong. That was a problem for another day, as she already had an important meeting at Vault 63 and continued down the mountain toward the east. Coming upon a paved road, she also found a deserted roadblock of sorts, which featured several empty crates with the Blue Ridge Caravan Company logo on them. Dusk was falling, and she continued east. As she approached the center of the storm, it started throwing lightning bolts at the land before her. She decided to pitch her tent and try to wait out the storm, or at least wait for morning. She noted that these lightning bolts were unusually strong and shook the very ground. This was not conducive to sleep, but she tried. Around 3 in the morning, she decided to take a chance and head east a bit to recon the area. She found a small building with a distinctly unfriendly laser turret. It was attached to a wall surrounding a much larger building. When approaching the building, she started hearing voices that were unmistakably the Lost. She decided to skirt the building and continue east to Vault 63. Around 5:30 in the morning, she came across another gate, this one without a guardhouse or turret. It did have a bloated Lost corpse and a statue of a lion. She continued east, noting that there was no sign of sunrise under the storm. Around 8 a.m. the sun rose into the red haze below the storm, which had at least stopped dropping lightning bolts. She soon came across a sign of the appropriately named Thunder Mountain Electric Substation TM-03 and a guard shack. Looking for an entrance, she noticed a collapsed highway tunnel. This was a checkpoint for something further down the road, and there was a sign listing entry fees for entering the national park beyond. On the other side of the checkpoint was a sign identifying a crossroad, Skyline Drive. Approaching the guard shack, she was greeted by a voice within the shack with an emphatic, "Go away." She continued around the building and found a place where she could talk to the man inside. He was named Craig and hailed from Foundation. He was from a crew sent to learn more about the Bloodstorm, as Toe decided to call it, and to offer aid if they could. Obviously, the Lost had other ideas, and thus Craig was the sole survivor. He didn't really know if he was the only one left, but asked if she found any of the rest of his crew to mark the place with his flare so that he could report back to Foundation with something, anything. Leaving Craig, she soon came upon an area labeled Makeout Point. There were several deceased participants and a lone dead settler. She placed a flare aside the settler and moved on. She was then attacked by what looked and sounded like mutated turkeys, but were much harder to wade through. At the entrance to a tunnel, she found another settler and dropped another flare to mark the body. She was soon beset by more of the Lost and eliminated them. She found a note from someone named Rod. Apparently, Craig was pushing the group hard to find the source of the storm, and some resentment had set in. Continuing, the storm changed in intensity and then calmed down a bit, but showed no signs of going away. Toe passed several private property signs, and due to the switchbacks of Skyline Drive, she found herself at a gate to the same mansion that she had bypassed earlier, but this time from the other side. As she got closer and encountered more Lost, she realized that the storm did seem to be centered on the mansion. She found a large blood stain in the road outside the gate, where a lot of Lost had been killed. It looked like a last stand by one of Craig's men, who she found closer to the gate. She dropped another flare, and by its light she found a ghoul in a Vault 63 suit who had a damaged holotag. The last name was obscured, showing only the name Rebecca. She placed it in her pocket in case she had a chance to return it to Vault 63. Toe approached the mansion, hoping for at least an escape from the storm and its constant threat of lightning. Inside there was no reprieve. Along with many of the Lost was one in power armor with a plasma weapon. Again, strategy won out, and Toe survived once she killed enough of them to get a breather and make use of her meager supply of stim packs and bandages. Finding stairs down, Tow found the catacomb-like foundations of the mansion and the wine cellar. Then she heard it, a voice coming through an intercom. Following the sound, she found the intercom and a hand scanner nearby. She pressed the button on the intercom, revealing her presence. A woman explained that to open the vault, they would have to authorize it from both sides. On her side, she still had hands, so all Tow needed was an authorized hand from one of the lost. Easy peasy. Just what Tow needed right now. A comedian, and one who wanted to open the vault before explaining anything else. Having little choice, Tow searched for a lost who would offer a hand. She found her willing victim at the top of the stairs and went back to scan the hand. Ugh. The brick wall parted and revealed a typical vault elevator door. Tow suddenly longed for days back in Vault 76, where a simple elevator door was to be approached without foreboding. At the end of her short journey, the elevator doors opened, and she was confronted by a ghoul with a clipboard and pen, which suddenly seemed like the most normal thing in the wasteland. She identified herself as Hilda Stolz and explained she was some kind of organic researcher and directed Tow to meet with her uncle, who was apparently the overseer of Vault 63. She left and followed the signs to the overseer's office. Hugo sat calmly at his overseer's desk with his elbows on it and his fingers interlocked in front of him. She was shocked at how much he looked like one of the lost. He assured Tow that he meant her no harm and asked her intent. Tow explained that she had been invited in by Hilda. Hugo was pleasantly surprised to hear the faint ticking of her Pip-Boy and correctly concluded that she must be from Vault 76 because he knew the purpose of the vaults in the area, and thus she couldn't be from anywhere else nearby. He then offered an opportunity to help him with his goal of doing something about the terrible storm that had overtaken his beloved Shenandoah Valley. He then formally introduced himself. He was the CEO of Stolz Enterprises and a respected member of the board of directors of Vault Tech. He then offered her a position as a special consultant to Vault 63, with her first task being to fetch a report from the Vault's head of security, James T. Oberlin. Still skeptical, but basically free to wander the vault, she agreed. As she was leaving his office, she heard him mumble, "What would Cassie do?" Tow found Oberlin and was expected. He wondered how she had come to be on their doorstep, but admitted that Stolz didn't manage things in any kind of ordinary manner. With her defeat of the Lost to get here, he deduced that she had combat training and asked her details of her background. She said that she'd been a military-trained resident of Vault 76. He appreciated her honesty and offered to answer some questions. He explained that Vault 63 contained a large, still classified, weather control facility which was rendered inoperable decades ago. Recent events led to its reactivation, but it was admittedly not under control. Their current goal was to restore it to normal operation. He also explained that the Lost all used to be dwellers of Vault 63, and the communication with them is impossible. And they will immediately attack. Don't hesitate to strike first when you see them. When she asked about Stolz, he told her that indeed Stolz had been exposed to the same accident that created the Lost, but he retained his command of language and implied that Stolz also retained as much sanity as he had ever had. With a handoff of Situation Report S-487, she went back to see the overseer. When given the report, Stolz set it aside and started by questioning her humanity. Not quite impolitely, but more in an existential sense. He went on to explain that he was born blind, and since his accident, he now had the ability to sense the electrical ebb and flow of life around him and the relationship between it and the objects in the area. He speculated the Lost likely had the same ability, but since one could not ask them, he had conjectured this. He thought that her military training and experience in a vault made her the perfect individual to help them correct the current situation. He went on to explain that he and Oberlin both had tasks that she should be able to help them with, but encouraged her to take some time and relax from her recent encounter with the Lost. Tow was suddenly overwhelmed with relief at the idea of spending some time relaxing in a vault and taking the time to prepare for whatever tomorrow might bring to the wasteland.
Doesn't that sound nice? Relaxing in a vault. You know how the Lord of the Rings movies have sprung up sort of like a tourist industry in New Zealand where the Shire's still there and you can go on a tour of that. They set up a vault in Los Angeles anywhere yet where we can, sleep in a vault and play Fallout games with everyone, like maybe
There
sleep
are
in a
some
cryo
vaults out
chamber,
there, Not that. We don't yet have the tourist vault. The tourist attraction, like
I'm moving
the
to Los
Universal
Angeles.
Studios
We're opening
Fallout
it up.
ride.
Let's go, guys. Come on. That's our business plan. We got it. Let's go.
You gotta wonder, now that we've got Fallout domination happening, though, if we're going to get more themed vault type stuff, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, Vault 21 in Vegas.
Perfect place for it. Just don't fill the bottom part with concrete.
Beautiful. Thank you for your feedback, Lee.
Yeah, that was wonderful, Lee.
Good to hear
Really
from you, sir.
well done. Got some good details there with Toe, for sure.
Yeah, glad you were able to find somebody to give you a hand.
That's a great
like,
line. Yeah,
"Ew."
I winced. It was excellent. I do have to say too, it kind of makes me think of when Lucy falls into a Vault 4. Like it's great to be back in a vault, an actual functional vault, the comforts of home and all that. But is it really?
We're in
Is
the
it
best
the
place
vault
on earth.
Uh-huh.
A vault.
Maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah, could possibly no. Very nice. Lee, thank you, sir. So we have some iguana bits to get into this week, which has been nice because Fashnacht seems like it really just kills the news generally, doesn't it? Like it gets light for some reason during Fashnacht. I think they program the Fashnacht thing to go on and they all just fucking check out for a couple weeks, right? Is that how it goes?
There's a couple things to it. I'm not going to say that's what happens, but I mean, the truth is they're running Fashnacht with all of us. They want the mask too. You might think, they can just console command it in.
Yeah, they can. Oh, come on.
They come by the masks honestly. You've got John Rush himself, creative director for Fallout 76. He's out there running regularly. He was doing Fashnachts with people probably, 4 or 5 days out of the 2 weeks. I think even Solior got to do a run with him at least once. Yeah. Yeah,
Attaboy.
He's really good that way. You guys, Captain Nuke McLeod. If you find yourself on a server on Xbox with Captain Nuke McLeod, that's Jonathan Rush, the creative director.
Very cool. All right, hey, Jess, let's get into some news.
Jessica, to the office, please. Jessica, to the office. Your iguana bits are ready. Please come pick them up.
Why, thank you, Jess. Well, guess what we've got for you right now? These iguana bits are glowing. Yeah, they are positively irradiated because we got so much news coming in with Fashnacht ending, just like Andrew was saying.
The floodgates have opened.
It is, but that's because we knew we were on the precipice of a new season coming up. And originally we were thinking it might have been around March 4th we were thinking either March 4th or March 11th seemed most likely the 4th. But with Fashnacht wrapping, they did not. But what they did do on the 4th was tell us it will be the 18th. So we finally got a date for the season 20, Glow of the Ghoul. So they're calling the season, the actual update is the Ghoul Within update is what they're calling it now. They used the word Ghoulvolution in the past. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, Ghoulvolution. So officially it's going to be Ghoul Within.
It feels highly forced.
Yeah. So that's the 22nd major update. Obviously, we've had more than 22 updates and patches, but you know how they do the names with the major updates. And this is the 22nd major update. Glow Within, and Glow of the Ghoul is the name of the season board. And the art they did for that, of a bunch of ghouls looking at you, one of them with a syringe, excellent. Really good art. Really, really great. So with that announcement, we got a new season. Now, there have been some changes. Previously, we had we always try to look ahead, see what new events are coming, what's happening. One of the new events that are going to be in the game is called the Big Bloom. Brand new seasonal event on the style of a Fashnacht or Meat Week or what have you. And it was going to be coming next month, but they've moved that. So with the launch being on the 18th and bringing in all the new ghoul content and everything, they have rearranged the events a little bit to accommodate that. This month, We don't have anything on the list except for a ghoul photo mode contest they'll be doing end of the month, so stay tuned for that. We'll have details when we get there. Then in April, we've got a Mothman Equinox coming in and an Appalachian Outlaws Challenge event, which we don't know what that is, but that's probably going to be one of those ones that you put on an outfit or use a weapon, do a thing for the course of a week or two.
Yeehaw, partner.
Yeah, well, right? I mean, it's going to be like the Vicky and Vance Casino. You know?
Oh, there you go.
God, they're
Yeah.
pulling a heist. We don't know if it's going to be more of a gangster outlaw type thing.
No,
or,
yeah.
Like, it could be, I mean, it could absolutely be Western outlaw. You hear outlaw, you think Western. But
No, yeah, that's
don't
where
know.
my brain snaps. But yeah, there's also the Bonnie and Clyde style as well.
Mm-hmm. And then in April, we're going to get the Big Bloom, and that's going to start end of April, right at the end, and going into May. Going to be a 2-week event, like a lot of them are. So those are the next events on the schedule. There's also an Alien Invaders. If you're like, man, I haven't fought aliens in a minute, and I mean, I guess we haven't, right? When did we last fight aliens? Was it November or so? It's been a little while.
I need a new disintegrator.
Yeah, we can always use one of those. And that's going to be
It
end
was
of
sometime
May.
around the beginning of the Roundtable.
Right, yes, because you were in there with baby characters, weren't you? I was too. Yeah, Hard Knock Holmes showed up at one of those, and a little underleveled at the time.
Low level
What?
penetrator.
Exactly. So that's the new calendar. We'll be going through it, but with the new calendar and the date of the 18th, we do have info coming out on the event itself. So I mentioned that we had a Ghoul Day on Tuesday. A bunch of characters came out in the wasteland, some actual ghoul characters playing with people. A little bit too late for Fashnacht. The ghouls didn't get to experience the joy of Fashnacht, but they got to jump around some PC servers, run some fun events, do that. I saw one in the Tunnel of Love. I mean, ghouls can find love, baby. And, maybe you can find love as a ghoul, because Ghoul Within update is going to be a big one. So what does it actually involve? We've talked about some of it, but I want to go down a little bit of the features for you. Season stuff is separate. But so the biggest thing, of course, is the playable ghoul feature. And that's going to allow a character to become a ghoul, which you do through a quest. Now, I mentioned last week, is it permanent? No, there is a way to reverse it, but you're not going to be able to go back and forth that easily. Like the initial try, maybe, but after that, not so much. So, becoming a ghoul is a big step. There are certain perk cards that will absolutely not work for you if you become a ghoul that you just can't use anymore. And at the same time, there are a bunch of new perk cards that you get, both new legendaries and new regular perks. So here's just a quick sample of some ghoul-only perks, and you'll see a lot more when you actually play. I won't over-discuss it, because it's kind of the thing you got to do and experience rather than just kind of talk about. But here's some of the fun names. You get some like Radioactive Strength. Radioactive Strength expends a moderate amount of glow, because you can absorb rads, which becomes glow for your character. You can expend glow to deal 50% more damage or 100% more damage. And that's a good one. There's one called Breathe It In, which gives you more rad resistance. There's Rad Reaver. Non-automatic melee damage provides a small amount of glow. So, you generate glow as you fight people with melee. Thick Skin, Radiation Power, Glowing Gut. Oh, nobody uses the food perks, really. I have a feeling that's kind of the case. I like Rejuvenated, but, the perks like less likely to get a disease when chugging swamp water, or the less likely to get the runs when you eat, years old Dandy Boy apples, whatever. Dandy Boy apples, a fancy last snack case.
Don't get the Dandy Boy apples from Dandy Boy Apples. Don't
confuse your boys and lads, people, and definitely don't confuse them with Doghouse brand dog food. You might need glowing gut more for that. But so there's a bunch of perks. There's about 4 per special category. So that's a lot. The legendary ones are really interesting. There's one called Feral Rage. Feral Rage makes everything cost less glow, so you can be out there spamming your new ghoul abilities. And then Action Diet. And on Action Diet, every time you kill, you heal, and it removes some of your ferality. For those, I'm talking about being feral here. So there's 2 meters you get as a ghoul. There's so many new mechanics. Don't want to overtalk it, but you gain glow as you absorb the rads and build up glow. But you can also become feral, and you have a feral meter. And the more feral you get, the more. What is a good way to kind of put what it looks like? It's like hunger and thirst, but you don't get hungry and thirsty as a ghoul. That's not a thing anymore. There's no food issues. Okay, so you can basically chems will help. Taking chems will help remove your feral meter if you start to become too feral. There's going to be a new chem called the Fix that will greatly restore your feral meter. So feral meter, when it's full, you're less feral. When it's empty, you're feeling very feral. So that's kind of a mechanic that they're kind of bringing in from the TV show in a way. And the Fix is the name of the new chem. As your feral meter changes, here's how it goes. So above 75% feral meter, you've got about 3 strength, 3 endurance, and plus 30 max HP. Above 50%, you get plus 15 HP. But once you're below 25% feral, you get minus 1 endurance and minus 5 HP. And when you get down to 0%, it's like minus 3 endurance, minus 15 max AP. So it changes a lot of your abilities quite a bit. And when your feral meter is at 0, when it's fully empty, you gain 150% melee damage. You're out there, you're bashing folks. But less endurance, minus 99 charisma. Yeah, ferals, I mean, I don't know about you, but feral's not that hot.
Ain't got no riz.
Yeah, they don't bring the riz, exactly. So there's a lot of things to it. Mutations, you can still have mutations if you have them, but you can't get mutations from radiation exposure, for instance. Factions, it'll affect how you work with factions. So all ghouls have minus 10 penalties. So you get minus 99 on your riz, as Andrew put it, if you go fully feral. But even when you're a ghoul in the peak of health, you get minus 10 charisma, which there are some people in the wasteland, maybe who are incredibly large fans of Hancock and find that sort of thing attractive. I don't think they should get the minus 10 penalty to charisma, but it's all what you're into. And
that's hilarious.
Then interacting with NPCs, some of them are going to be more aware. We talked about it. Brotherhood of Steel will be outright hostile to you and not work with you. Foundation and Crater, they don't really trust unknown ghouls. Yes, they do have ghouls in the faction like we talked about, but they don't trust unknown ghouls. So while you can maybe, do some stuff, you can enter the town, I don't believe that you can interact with them. Or at least go into, say, like where Paige is inside Foundation. I think it's not going to let you in there. So there's going to be a bit to it. And in order to do that, you need to get a disguise, which you can get from a character named Jay in the new Ghoul Village, but I won't tell you any more about Ghoulville.
Wait, what? As a ghoul, you can get like a normal person disguise? Is that what you just said?
You can get a disguise. Yeah, all the ghouls in Ghoulville. They're too ghoul for school.
Hilarious.
They've got to get a disguise.
Ghoul for school.
Uh-huh. And you get it from a character named Jay. But once again, not going to spoil Ghoulville for you. You get to experience it yourself.
All right.
But there's a bit to it. And the disguise cracks me up.
You said ghouls do not have hunger or thirst.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if not hunger and if not thirst, what is the force driving them to consume the brains?
Well, that's a common misconception. You see, ghouls don't actually need to eat brains.
They don't eat anything. What do? They just go to stand around and wait.
They attack. They devour.
Just sort of
Some
like
ghouls can
stand
eat.
like this and wiggle a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. One thing about ghouls, there are a couple things in here. So, ghoul
Sway in the
lore
wind.
can vary. Some ghouls need to eat. Some ghouls really don't seem to need to eat as much. Some ghouls eat just out of habit. We've talked about that before. There's also
even ferals eat?
a big part of ghoul lore is that if you're a ghoul, ferals won't attack you. And in some of the previous games, we know that has been the case. Like other NPC ghouls could be around ferals and they wouldn't attack them. And that's why when you put on the ghoul mask as well, that would work so they wouldn't attack you.
Yes.
However, the gameplay mechanics in Fallout 76, it is a shared world.
Won't allow
You're out there,
that.
there are times when ghouls have to attack for events and stuff like that. So if you bring that up, it can be brought up with a character or two, and they might say that's kind of a common misconception. Some ghouls are too far gone. Some will attack, some won't. It varies. So they kind of, they're playing a little fast and loose with established lore right there. But it also makes sense that some ferals probably would just attack anything that moves. So anyway, that is the ghoul update. What's going to be coming. Now, I mentioned all that too because you may have questions about all this.
Yes, one more.
Next Friday, they'll be doing an AMA, an Ask Me Anything, answering community questions about ghouls and what's going to be going on with this next update. If you want to submit one, you can do that over in the Bethesda Discord. They've got a special channel set up for it. And they'll be doing the AMA in the Discord too. So we will have all the answers and information on that next episode. So if there are any really cool questions or insightful ones, I will make sure and bring them up.
With every big update, what is our new currency this time?
Believe it or not, we did not get a new currency unless your
ghoul
goal
coin.
was to...
No, wait, that meter. You said there's some sort of ghoul power
That's
meter
what I was going to
thing.
say, yeah, the glow.
The
you kind of
glow,
have
there
a
you go.
currency like
That's
glow
our new currency.
And maintaining your feral meter instead of
They always
hunger and
gotta be
thirst.
introducing shit.
Yeah, they gotta be. I'm sure there'll be new currency for the big bloom when that happens, so don't feel left out, okay?
Does that have something to do with mushrooms?
Yeah, the big bloom is actually flowers. It's a floral event. Yeah. It's a fun thing for spring. That's why they're
there might
doing
be
that.
lots of mushroom clouds forming all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. So with this season here, of course, they always have a new scoreboard and ghoulish rewards on the scoreboard. So I'm taking a look right here at what they've got on the board right now. And they've got, God, this is just gross. Okay, it's kind of cool. People are going to really enjoy this. We're getting funky. We're getting wild here in the wasteland. We've got a goo tub. It's not just a hot tub. It's a goo tub. So if you ever wanted to soak in green stuff like a super mutant.
Oh, is it like the vats at West Tech?
Yeah, but it's kind of in between. So it's not actually FEV. It's not actually the green stuff from West Tech. But it is kind of an ultracitic. They call it an ultracitic glow, like heavily irradiated water in the gold tub.
Neat.
There's also a cool sharpshooter power armor paint. There's some new radiation suits, a mini nuke stein. If you're gonna drink, why use a regular stein? Why use a Fosnock stein? How about the mini nuke stein?
Spicy.
You never know where that's been. I'm actually gonna pull up the season chart right now. So yeah, there is actually a glowing ghoul mask. We do have the ghoul mask in the game. You're gonna get a glowing ghoul mask if you want to wear one.
Oh, nice.
And that's on the first page. So everybody can get that if they want it.
What kind of outfit are you going with the glowing ghoul mask?
Ooh, what pairs well with, weird leaky green eyes and a screechy mouth?
Yeah, but it's whenever you wear a mask like that, you always have to worry about your neckline of the outfit because if it goes down too low, it looks so stupid.
Yeah. Remember people wearing that with the hillbilly outfit that came out around the same time? Like, the next scene was major. It was awesome. Everybody out there kind of like Sloth from the Goonies.
So bad. Oh, perfect.
But yeah, I think maybe the glowing ghoul mask would go good with the Lederhosen, the Fosnock Lederhosen. How about that?
I'll try. We'll try it out. That sounds perfect.
Flipping ahead, just a couple more things. If you want to be in disguise, you're tired of being picked on for being a ghoul, you can get the classic glasses with nose and mustache. Fake nose and mustache glasses on the scorpion.
The fucking Groucho glasses thing.
It's completely the Groucho glasses. They're not out of ideas. They're just having so much fun.
That's hilarious.
I've heard some people, like every scoreboard, people like, oh, there's nothing I want on this board. This board, it's got some really great little items. And there's stacks of chems for your camp. You want to decorate your camp with various chems. We know ghouls love chems. So you get the stacked chems. You can get a slime cake and a mutated guts loot bag. Disgusting.
How much?
Absolutely gross.
How much of the show's ghoul lore stuff is going to be reflected in this ghoul?
They're bringing in some. That's the entire thought of like the feral meter and the idea of ghouls needing more
vials of
chems to
stuff
keep
or
things down.
something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yep,
I hope we see
exactly.
the vials. You gotta take the vials.
That's what that new chem is going to be based on, I believe. The one called the Fix.
The Fix. Okay. Is that what it's
yeah,
called? What was it called in the show? Did they ever say anything?
They didn't.
They didn't. Okay.
No.
They didn't. And so we don't really know much about it. I'm going to see if I can look up anything more on the Fix. Well, I don't have that page up anymore. Anyway, yeah, so we'll see how much it works out. I mentioned, previously in an episode that I hope they don't try to retroactively incorporate too much stuff from the show. The idea that ghouls have always needed chems more than we realized and always taken this chemical to not go feral. I really think it's better if it's kept local, and maybe the idea that this is a new discovery that if you start going feral, you can do. Or there's always been this possibility, but not widely available. Who knows? But they are integrating it a little bit. So I'm just flipping a little more down the scoreboard. A couple things I want to shout out for people. Slime cake, that's gross. The radioact table. What is that? It's a board on top of two rad barrels. Why not? I love it. And I'm taking a look in real time. There's a cool Mark Charmer outfit. We already have it, but now it's an all black one. So if you want to unleash your inner goth ghoul. Skeletons, posable skeletons for the environmental storytelling in your own camp of your dreams.
What? No way.
No, for real. Yeah.
Teddy bears and skeletons.
Leaning, laying, all that. You get random goo splatter. Ghouls, they seem to think ghouls are just messy. They've got a lot of radioactive waste in this season, for sure. And that'll about wrap it up. Near the end, the fanciest ones, ultrasight wall lights and ultrasight throne to really get the extra glow going on. And on the bonus page, yes, more skeleton parts, a ghoul movie projector, and
movie
a
projector?
correct toilet paper roll. Do you want to be able to put your own toilet paper roll next to your toilet and have facing the correct way? They got that now.
Was it?
Ridiculous.
What was the ghoul movie screen thing? Was
I
that like
believe
the drive-in at
Yeah. It's we already have the little projector situation, and so this is that, but with a color movie. And I believe it's called, is it Glow of the Ghoul? Pulling it up again.
Beautiful.
Yes, Glow of the Ghoul. And it's actually got some pretty good art. It's classic kind of Night of the Living Dead with like these hands coming out of the ground.
Awesome.
Yeah,
We're actually kind of getting a little bit excited now. I was like, I don't know, a little bit of me was like, this is going to be corny. But like, I'm kind of getting excited at this point now.
They're playing that up a little bit, with obviously with the season theme and all that. They're totally playing it up a bit to get kind of corny, but I think that's going to be part of the fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be a weird season.
Kind of embrace
the Ghoul
it.
update itself, I barely touched the surface of what it's bringing with it. Playing a Ghoul will completely change a lot of how you play the game.
So start a fresh character to ghoulify, right? You're gonna ruin your character, right?
You'll ruin your character, but maybe you'll make them better. Maybe they'll be all new. I mean,
okay.
What do you want? I bet we'll see some level 13,000 ghouls out there.
How about past, I don't know, an old Roundtable character that's leveled 100 or 200 or something.
That's what I'm doing.
Take one of those ones, recycle them a little bit.
I think either Ron or Atticus, my old Roundtable characters, are going to go ghoul. Yep.
Ron.
I love the idea of him going ghoul.
Harry transapparated him or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, perfect. It'd be like another trick from his brothers there, right?
Damn it, George.
Ron Weasley, ghoul. So, yeah, I think that'd be cute. His little vault suit and hat.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
So, he might go ghoul. But yeah, there's a lot to it, and we'll find out more as we get there. And of course, like I said, the big bloom, we'll learn more about. Beyond that, that's it for kind of the major Iguana Bits news. We have Starfield. Well, we got a little news yesterday. It's not even news. But, people are like, Starfield update when? What's going on with Starfield? It's been radio silent for a while. Now, technically it hasn't been radio silent in that, the last actual official thing we got from Bethesda was the Doom creation in, what was it, December 12th? So we've had like 2.5 months without that, but they've done plenty of posting on socials about regular creations. They just did the Lone Star rocket launch. Like I mentioned, my friend got to go on and actually see, the Lone Star launch, and some people from Bethesda were there, and they had like Starfield music playing while the rocket launched. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So, but they did come in and they posted yesterday. Let me just pull up the actual post. I retweeted it. Just gotta scroll back a little bit, but yeah, it was in response to a friend, Captain Aura Wolf, and Aura Wolf said, "This is great. I love Starfield to bits. I'm still playing the game, but really need to start communicating what's happening with the next update DLC. Please and thank you." And Starfield, people often say things like that, but he did it very politely. And the Starfield came in and they said, "We know you're eager for an update. We appreciate your passion for Starfield.
Go fuck yourself."
The team has been hard at work. And go F your... No. And while we're not ready to share specific details just yet, we have a lot of exciting things planned for the game this year that we can't wait to talk about when the time is right. Always listening, taking your feedback to heart. Thanks for being part of this journey with us. Long story short, they're saying, look, back off, nerds.
Yeah.
We're cooking.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
But a lot of exciting things planned for the game this year. We don't know for sure, but we're speculating. We've got that PlayStation update. Maybe it's coming to PlayStation. We don't know. They never said, but maybe it comes to PlayStation this year, since many other games have been. And Bethesda traditionally has been a multi-platform game. Probably the next DLC. Probably other fun stuff. All kinds of speculation. But it's good to know they've got things in the oven. And that'll quiet the nerds down for a month or two.
Quiet them down.
Yeah, they can be like, we're Nuclear Winter next, we're Fallout 5. But they don't have to be we're Starfield DLC for at least a month. And you have an iguana bit here. Something about Nintendo?
I just saw, I was looking at some Mario Day is next week, the day was like 3/10, it's like, so it's like March, MAR, 10, the 10 is 1 is an I, 0 is an O. God, such a fucking stretch. But so March 10th is Mario Day, so they're having some Mario game sales, and I was just like looking through some stuff, and I saw an ad for the Nintendo 64K, and I was like, wait, what? So like it's like an upscaled Nintendo 64. So all the graphics are like 60 for the 4K TVs and stuff. I was like, no way. How can they do that? Like, I don't understand how just all...
That's super
all
cool that they're doing some fun remix there.
Is that like, will there be cartridges, or like they all will just be loaded into one little unit thing? Will they do it that way? Or like, so it's like, man, I might be suckered into buying something.
Well, I mean, there are some fun emulation items out there, like emulators, and the little what was the little mini Nintendo we had for a few years back?
Oh yeah,
that was really cute.
Yeah. There was a tiny Nintendo.
You've got like Retron consoles. Like there's a number of things. But I haven't heard about this Nintendo 64K. Now I'm gonna have to look it up later.
Yeah. I was pretty stoked about it. I didn't really get too deep into it, but I was like, ooh, that sounds like something that might get me interested. Yeah. All right, that was my only thing. Oh, one thing, I was talking to Kevin Collis on chat the other day, Jess, and he mentioned that we were talking about playing Fallout 4, the mods and stuff, and he mentioned that PlayStation had mods, but then the mods menu broke at some point, and it never got fixed. So PlayStation, they used to have like in-game assets only, right? Like you couldn't introduce new things, but evidently it's broken altogether.
/do. I'm not aware of that going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
He just mentioned something. I was like, oh, I wonder if Jess knows about that. Huh.
PlayStation and Skyrim, they supposedly have PlayStation, Skyrim, and Fallout have mods available, but they're only ones that don't add assets to the game. They can use existing game assets.
In game only, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He said something about how the menu might be busted or something. So, Yeah, I just didn't know if you'd heard anything about that.
No.
Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, that's all I had. I just had one shout on the way out the door. Did anybody have any other things they want to get into before we get into shouts, etc.? We were
let's hear your shout.
we were chatting just on the side. Michael posted some picture about a sandwich, and I know what area of the country he was in. I was just like, oh, is that a Wawa hoagie? Just sort of like out of nowhere, just because my friends, when I lived in Philadelphia 100 years ago, there was this. I always thought it was so strange, but my friends were like, we love these gas station sandwiches. And I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? It's like these sandwiches at this fucking little convenience store on the corner. I'm like, that sounds disgusting. Let's go to the Italian shop. And they're like, no, you got to go down to the convenience store and get your hoagie. And I'm like, get your what? Get your hoagie. And I was like, oh, a hoagie? Yeah, you got to go get a hoagie. But anyway, it's just they're so obsessed with these Wawa sandwiches, right?
Right.
And I evidently they've fallen off recently or something like that. I have no idea, but they were I never actually had one, but I was just so baffled that a like you think of a gas station, you think of like rotten egg salad, old tuna fit. You don't think of like
no,
a
you
gourmet.
don't. Oh my god, no! Gas station food can be delicious. Okay, you don't.
Well,
you don't.
now you do.
Gas station sushi.
Now that Buc-ee's exists and stuff like that, right?
Wawa's better than Buc-ee's.
Really, I think them's fighting words.
I mean, it would be, but we're talking about Wawa here. So any of our Mid-Atlantic listeners, they know Wawa. Okay, Wawa and Sheetz are the two biggest, like, decent convenience store gas stations in that area. They fight. Wawa was fancier, but like Michael mentioned in chat, he said, Wawa used to be, but it suffered a little bit as they expanded. It's not quite as fancy as it used to be because they keep growing and growing, and of course, maybe the location can keep up. But they have a deli counter. Some Wawas have deli sandwich counters. They have coffee bars. How like some fancy gas stations now will have a Subway in them or a Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts in them. Do you have any like that around you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Wawa did that in-house. Like, they didn't get other companies in there doing it. They did it themselves.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm with them. I like Wawa.
Yeah, so it's like all of my high school stuff is coming to Indiana because, like, we always liked getting Rita's water ice, which in Philadelphia, they got to call it Wooder ice. Got to get the Wooder ice, eh? And it's like turn them Canadian. They didn't say the A part, but like we'll go get a Wooder ice. But so we can go get the Rita water ice, and then I'll go get a Wawa hoagie, and I'll have like a nice.
It's a hoagie. It's
a hoagie, and a Wooder ice, and we'll have a Philadelphia reminiscent Philly high school day.
Chat's so mad at me right now. We got Stratoblaster and Sullivan. They're disagreeing. Buc-ee's is better than Wawa.
Oh
what are you talking about?
Boom. The battle.
Stratoblaster's actual profile pic icon is Buc-ee. So
is it really?
I should have known this was going to happen.
That's amusing. No.
Yeah, around here we've got Quick Trip gas stations.
Quick Trip? They got good sandwiches?
In some of them they've got all kinds of stuff, but they're really most famous for their roller food.
Oh, like the hot dogs and stuff?
Yeah.
Like
delicious drunk food.
So steak and cheese taquitos.
Yeah, I love taquitos.
Egg rolls.
Damn.
Are they actually good, or do you just have them at 1 a.m. when you get out of the bar?
Yeah, I think it's just
bar food.
Yeah.
That's what they usually are. Like, I'm sorry, but hot dogs are meant to be that color brown. Like, that taquito looks like it's seen better days, like years ago.
Yeah.
It's going to see my belly.
So.
How do we get back on food?
We always do. It always comes back around to food.
Yeah.
We're talking about hoagies and Wawa.
I love a good hoagie. Absolutely.
All right. I believe that...
in California, we called them grinders.
Grinders. I think that was. If you look around,
Boogies
like
and grinders.
it's fun to look at that map of what people call all the different submarine sandwich variations.
So where I grew up, we call them Italians, which that's the main thing.
Main
and
thing?
apparently you should call them Italians. I get confused with people, which
Ooh,
I don't know. Growing up,
yeah.
that's what we called them. Now they call them subs more often. Subs, but growing up, they were
becoming
always
sort
Italians.
of the generic term here, but
Mm-hmm.
submarine.
Anyway.
Yeah, guys. Well, I think that's all I have this evening. Do you guys have any other stuff you'd like to bring up before we sign off?
I think we brought up enough tonight.
We have covered it all. Well, in that case, you can find him and all of his projects for the No Man's Sky show at BBCISSS for the Butcher Baker Candlemaker in Space and at Ray LB. Ray, thanks so much for hopping on.
Good times.
Jess and all of her projects can be found at Sleep is 4T. Jess, thank you so much.
Thank you. Don't overcook your steak, y'all.
Dude, you got to burn it to shit and drown it in A1. Both Jess and Ray frequently hang out in our Discord. Everyone should please head on over there, join up, and join in the fun and the conversation. And you can peep on a live show like all those cool people who did this evening. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out in the live show. I can be found at, in the Android, the show is at the Fallout feed. I'd like to thank everyone for downloading this edition of the Fallout feed. We will see you in the Wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the Roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the Wasteland.
She decided to picture 10.
All those skills. You did do it to yourself.
The shackles of the Brotherhood.
Maybe I'll just have to go very hard.
Only very hard.
The two nearest bodies are unsuitable for some reason.
Getting, 5% harder. Work your skills.
This was not conducive to sleep.